In the pantheon of survival thrillers, a subgenre defined by the quiet terror of all is lost and the primal brutality of the revenant, Apex 2026 arrives not as a revolution, but as a refinement. Directed by Iceland's master of elemental torture, Baltasar Kormákur, Everest, a drift beast. The film strips the concept down to its essential mechanics: a highly capable protagonist, an invincible landscape, and a human predator. Yet, within this seemingly formulaic framework, Apex attempts something audacious, using the grammar of a genre film to explore the nature of guilt, the mathematics of survival, and the perverse intimacy between hunter and hunted. Set against the terrifyingly beautiful backdrop of Australia's fictional Wandara National Park, a composite of the Blue Mountains and the Tasmanian wilderness, the film follows Sasha, Charlize Theron, a world-class rock climber and kayaker who is still reeling from the traumatic death of her boyfriend, Tommy, Eric Bana, on Norway's Troll Wall. 5 months later, a road trip meant to honor his memory turns into a nightmare when she is targeted by Ben, Taron Egerton, a soft-spoken, charismatic local who reveals himself to be a practitioner of cannibalistic tribal rituals, turning backpackers into jerky. The film's 96-minute runtime is a masterclass in escalating tension, punctuated by 2 major set pieces: a white-knuckle kayak sequence through rapids and a vertical climb up a sheer cliff while chained to a dying cannibal. However, Apex has divided critics. Some praise Theron's raw athleticism, Egerton's terrifyingly friendly menace, and Kormákur's signature use of real locations. Others decry it as a soulless algorithm-driven action film that prioritizes slickness over substance. This deep dive will argue that Apex is neither masterpiece nor failure. It is a fascinating artifact of 2020 streaming cinema, a film caught between art house austerity and popcorn horror, whose meaning is found in its contradictions. 2. Full narrative deconstruction, a scene-by-scene explanation. This section breaks down every major beat of Apex, explaining the subtext, the survival logic, and the emotional stakes. Prologue: The Troll Wall, Norway, 15 minutes before the title card. The scene: the film opens on an extreme close-up of a compass needle, trembling. Pull back to reveal Sasha and Tommy, harnessed together, ascending a vertical ice sheet on the troll wall, actually filmed on a soundstage with VFX, but with real climbing inserts. They are a perfect unit. She is technical, methodical. He is instinctual, lucky. Tommy kisses his compass, Granddad's compass. Never failed. A storm rolls and faster than forecasted. Sasha wants to push to the summit. Tommy's compass needle spins erratically. Our luck just ran out. They begin rappelling. The tragedy: a thunderclap dislodges a rock. It strikes Tommy's helmet, a subtle visual cue. The helmet cracks but doesn't break. He goes limp. The rope anchors to Sasha's harness. His unconscious weight begins to pull her off the wall. She tries to hold, her fingers bleeding, her scream lost in the wind. We see her face, a split second of choice. She unclips her carabiner. Tommy falls into a white void. The last shot of the prologue is Sasha's hand, still reaching down, empty. Explanation: this is not just a tragedy, it is a moral anchor that will drag through the entire film. Sasha didn't push him, physics did, but survivor's guilt is irrational. The film's thesis is stated here silently: survival requires impossible choices. Act 1, the grief engine, 20 minutes. 5 months later, Australia. Sasha drives a modified 4x4, a Toyota Land Cruiser, chosen for its durability, through the outback. The radio plays news about missing tourists in Wandara National Park. She looks hollow, no makeup, her climbing muscles atrophied. She stops at a ranger station. Aaron Pedersen's ranger warns her. People go in. They don't come out. We think it's a sinkhole. Sasha dismisses him. I climb sinkholes. The service station, a masterclass in low-level menace. 2 hunters, Matt Whalen and Rob Carlton, leer at Sasha. You lost, darling. This is croc country. She ignores them. Ben Egerton enters, a figure of disarming normalcy, a faded band t-shirt, the birthday party, a Nick Cave reference, an easy grin. He says nothing, just leans on the counter, staring at the hunters until they leave. He then tells the cashier, Bessie Holland, giving a wonderfully weary performance, that he's stocking jerky for her. Sasha buys a bag of Bushman's biltong from a barrel. Ben gives her directions to Grand Isle Narrows via Blackstone Bay. The bay is safe. The Narrows, that's where the river gets mean. She thanks him. He watches her drive away. The camera holds on his face for 2 beats too long. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. First night, Sasha camps at Blackstone Bay. The hunters from the service station arrive, drunk. They circle her car. One taps a knife on her window. Just playing. She pepper sprays through the window crack. They leave. Sasha doesn't sleep. She looks at a photo of Tommy. This is a woman already living in a nightmare before the real one begins. Act 2. The game, 25 minutes. The kayak sequence, dawn. Sasha inflates her pack raft, an alpaca raft chosen for realism. She enters the Narrows. Kormákur shoots this in long, unbroken takes. The camera is inside the raft, then water level, then a drone shot showing the frothing Class 4 rapids. She navigates perfectly, using her paddle to brace against rocks. It's a moment of pure competence. She camps, exhausted. The violation, she wakes to find her bag gone. Following footprints, she finds Ben's camp. He is cooking breakfast. You lost this. He tosses her bag. Then, the tonal shift. I saw you on the river. You're good. Tommy would be proud. Sasha freezes. How do you know Tommy? Ben leans in. I make it my business to know who comes through here. You let him go on the troll wall. It's okay. I let my mother go too. Sasha tries to leave. Ben pulls out a crossbow, a Barnett whitetail hunter STR, from his tent and a vintage boombox. A sharp GF 777, a collector's item. This is Tainted Love by Soft Cell. It's 2 minutes and 32 seconds. You run. I hunt. If I catch you, I eat you. The Chase, Part 1. Sasha sprints. She uses her climbing knowledge to stay off trail, doubling back, leaving false prints. Ben moves with a calm, almost bored efficiency. He doesn't run, he walks. He fires the crossbow once. The bolt grazes her calf. She loses the kayak in the rapids. She hears a family talking. Dad, I'm scared. And runs toward them. It's a video recording, projected on a white sheet hung from a tree. Ben's trapped. He shoots again, forcing her into the river. She escapes downstream. Act 3. The cave, the revelation, 15 minutes. The bear trap. Sasha finds a ravine with an empty canoe. She reaches for it. Snap! A bear trap, actually a modified foothold trap, closes on her ankle. Ben arrives, unhurried. Those are for dingoes. But you'll do. He injects her with a sedative, xylazine, known as Trank, which a fact check reveals is used by veterinarians but was likely chosen for its horrific association with the opioid crisis. The cave. Sasha wakes chained to a stalagmite by a climbing daisy chain. The cave is a charnel house. Hanging from the ceiling are human carcasses, dried like prosciutto. On a table, vacuum-sealed bags labeled Bushman's Biltong. The family from the video, a father, mother, teenage daughter, young boy, are posed in a tableau, their eyes sewn open, a boombox playing a lullaby. Sasha vomits. Ben sits across from her, sharpening a knife. The monologue. Ben is not a raving monster. He is calm, analytical. You think I'm evil. I think I'm honest. Every religion, every culture eats their god. Transubstantiation? That's just cannibalism with good PR. My mother taught me. She was dying of cancer. I ate her tumors. You'd think that would kill the cancer in me, wouldn't you? It didn't. But the hunger stayed. He explains his ritual. He hunts tourists because they are already ghosts. People who leave their lives behind to feel something real. I give them a real death. He opens a bag of jerky, human jerky, and eats it. You, Sasha, are going to be my masterpiece. A world-class climber who let her boyfriend die. The guilt adds flavor. Escape! Sasha headbutts Ben, bites off a chunk of his right ear, spits it at him. She uses the blood to lubricate her wrist, slips the chain, and runs. Ben follows, blood pouring down his neck, laughing. Act 4. The ascent, the final climb, 18 minutes. The waterfall. Sasha rappels down a rope Ben had left across a river, a Tyrolean traverse. Ben clips himself to the same rope. They go over a 40-foot waterfall. Ben is knocked unconscious on a rock. Sasha is still chained to him, a 3-foot length of chain. She tries to smash the chain with a rock, but the noise wakes him. He overpowers her, but she smashes his shin with a boulder, a compound fracture. The bone is visible, a practical FX moment. The compromise. Sasha drags Ben to a clearing. He is dying of sepsis. She has a choice. Wait for him to die, 3 to 5 days, but she has no water, or climb a 200-foot sheer cliff to the plateau above. If she climbs, she must pull him up because they are chained. Ben promises to unlock the padlock at the top. I keep my word. It's all I have left. The climb. This sequence is the film's spiritual core. Kormákur shoots it like a dance. Sasha builds a Prusik knot system, a friction hitch that slides up but holds under weight. She climbs. The chain pulls Ben. He screams as his broken leg scrapes the rock. The chain saws against a sharp edge. Sasha reaches a ledge. She looks at Ben. He grins, bloody. You're going to do it again, aren't you? You're going to let go. Sasha loosens her harness. Ben lunges, grabbing her ankle. Her harness slips off. She removes the Prusik knot. Ben falls, the chain snapping taut for a second. Then he is gone, a dark speck against the white sky. Sasha climbs the rest of the wall free solo, her fingers bleeding, her face a mask of transcendent pain. Epilogue. The compass, 3 minutes. Sasha walks out of the forest at dawn. A passerby, Zach Garrett, picks her up. She returns to the ranger station. The ranger asks, "What happened?" She whispers, "I found them." Cut to news reports. 23 bodies found in cave network. Authorities suspect cult activity. The suspect died from a fall. Final scene. Sasha stands on a beach. She takes Tommy's compass. She doesn't cry. She winds her arm back and throws it into the ocean. The camera holds on her hand, now empty. The compass sinks in slow motion. Cut to black. Explanation. She has symbolically released her guilt. She didn't kill Tommy. She survived him. She didn't kill Ben. She let the cliff do it. In the logic of Apex, she has finally earned her survival. 3. Critical review. A study in contradictions. With a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes and a Metacritic score of 58, Apex is the definition of mixed. Let's unpack the polarized perspectives. The positive case, why Apex works. 1. Charlize Theron's physical commitment. Theron, who did 80% of her own climbing with safety lines removed digitally in post, embodies a specific kind of survivor. She doesn't play hero. She plays a broken machine forcing itself to function. Roger Ebert's Thomas Laughley wrote, "Theron's composed strength is the film's anchor. You never doubt her capability, only her will to continue." 2. Taron Egerton's anti-charisma. Cast against type, the singing Elton John, the cocky Exian Kingsman, Egerton creates a villain who is terrifying precisely because he is so nice. He doesn't snarl. He smiles. His Ben is the guy who would help you change a tire before flaying you. The San Francisco Chronicle called it a performance of such gentle menace that it lingers like a low-grade fever. Kormákur's environmental storytelling. The director has a fetish for practical locations. The rapids were real, shot on the Nimboida River. The final cliff climb was a composite of 3 different Blue Mountains cliffs. The weather changes, the oppressive heat, the sudden cool of the cave, are tactile. You feel the grit. The AV Club noted, Kormákur understands that in a survival film, the landscape is the co-lead. 4. The Prusik knot metaphor. The final climb is a brilliant piece of dramatic engineering. Sasha must save Ben to save herself. The chain is both a literal and psychological shackle. When she releases him, she isn't just surviving. She is performing a second, deliberate letting go. This time it is right. The negative case. Why Apex stumbles. 1. The algorithmic critique. Luke Buckmaster of The Guardian, 2 out of 5 stars, was the most damning. It's a film that feels designed by committee. Traumatized female badass. Check. Quirky, handsome villain? Check. A deep metaphor about guilt? Check. It hits every beat with the precision of a spreadsheet, but has no pulse. M.N. Miller of Incession Film went further. It gives streaming a bad name. It's hollow, a noise machine. Underdeveloped secondary characters. Eric Bana's Tommy exists only to die. His lucky compass is a clunky MacGuffin. The hunters, Waylon, Carlton, are cartoonish red herrings. The park ranger, Peterson, is a walking exposition dump. The family of 4 is reduced to shock value mannequins. Variety argued, the film is so focused on the two-hander between Theron and Egerton that the world around them feels like a video game level. 3. Pacing issues. The first 30 minutes are glacial. Sasha grieving, driving, eating jerky. The middle 40 minutes are a relentless chase. The final 20 minutes are a climbing procedural. The tonal whiplash is jarring. IndieWire complained, "It's a film that doesn't know if it wants to be an art film about grief or a slasher flick." It ends up being neither. 4. The cannibalism logic gap. Why does Ben turn people into jerky? The film gives a pseudo-spiritual monologue about tribal rituals and his mother's cancer, but it's vague. The New York Post asked, "Is he a supernatural being? A cult leader of one? A metaphor for capitalism?" The film raises these questions and then shrugs. The verdict? A solid entry versus algorithmic noise. The Rotten Tomatoes consensus splits the difference. Benefiting from astonishing Australian locations and Charlize Theron's raw athleticism while skimping on the finer details, Apex doesn't mark the zenith of survival thrillers, but makes for a solid entry. Final grade, this review 3 out of 5 stars. Apex is not the Silence of the Lambs. It is not The Revenant. It is a competently made, aggressively watchable B-movie with A-list talent. It works best if you turn off your need for psychological depth and simply enjoy the mechanics of a hunt. Taron and Egerton are electric. Kormákur knows how to shoot action. But the film's fear of silence. Every scene is scored by a low rumble or a boombox song, and its reliance on genre tropes prevent it from achieving greatness. 4. Character autopsy. More than meets Sasha, Charlize Theron the survivor of Sisyphus. Sasha is not a strong female character in the hollow, quip-filled Marvel sense. She is a strong character, flawed, exhausted, and morally ambiguous. Her defining trait is competence. She doesn't scream when she sees the bodies in the cave. She vomits, then calculates. She doesn't cry when chained. She bites off an ear. But her arc is about agency. In the prologue, she made a passive choice, letting go to save herself. She spends the rest of the film atoning. Every action, the kayaking, the climbing, the Prusik knot, is her trying to earn the right to live. The final shot, throwing away the compass, is her reclaiming her narrative. She is no longer the woman who dropped her boyfriend. She is the woman who climbed out of hell. Theron plays this transformation not with a triumphant smile, but with a hollow, relieved flatness. That's brave acting. Ben, Taron Egerton, the banality of the modern cannibal. Ben is a radical subversion of the backwoods cannibal trope. Think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface or Rom turns mutants. He is not deformed. He is not unintelligent. He is a handsome, well-spoken white man who runs a service station. He is the monster who smiles. Egerton's key choice is to play Ben as bored. The hunt is his hobby. Cannibalism is his art project. His monologue about his mother is delivered with the same effect as a man explaining how to change a tire. There is no rage, only a chilling certainty. This makes him more unsettling than any screaming maniac. However, the film never decides if Ben is a literal cannibal or a symbol of toxic masculinity consuming women, or colonial violence consuming the land. That ambiguity is either genius or lazy. Tommy, Eric Bana, the ghost who anchors. Bana has a thankless role. He appears in the prologue and in 2 flashbacks, a camping trip, a climbing lesson. But he brings a weathered Australian authenticity. His Tommy is not a dream boyfriend. He's a bit of a show-off, a risk-taker whose luck eventually runs out. The compass is his legacy. When Sasha throws it away, she is not forgetting him. She is finally separating her identity from his death. 5. Direction and cinematography. Baltasar Kormákur's terrain. Baltasar Kormákur is a specialist in elemental cinema. His films, Everest, The Deep, Adrift Beast, all pit humans against indifferent nature. His visual signature is the long take of physical labor. In Apex, watch the kayak sequence. There is a 2-minute shot from a helmet cam that is clearly Theron herself paddling through real whitewater. No cut, no stunt double. That's Kormákur's ethos. Cinematographer Matthias Skoning, who shot Everest, uses natural light wherever possible. The cave scenes are lit by a single LED panel. The darkness is real, the shadows deep. The final climb uses the golden hour, sunset, to create a religious glow around Sasha as she ascends. The color palette shifts. Norway is cold blue, the outback is dusty orange, the cave is sickly green, the final cliff is warm gold. This is visual storytelling at its most classical. Weakness. Kormákur overuses the shaky cam during chase. It's a tired trope. When Ben is chasing Sasha through the bush, the camera jerks, so much you can't track the geography. A steadier hand would have been more terrifying. Themes and motifs, the Prusik knot and the compass. Theme 1, survival as moral mathematics. The film asks, is it wrong to let someone die to save yourself? The prologue says no. The finale says yes, but only if you do it face to face. Sasha's evolution is from passive dropper to active releaser. Theme 2, the consumer monster. Ben turns people into jerky. He sells it at the service station. The film is a dark satire of the gig economy. Everyone is a resource to be optimized, packaged, and sold. The hunters who harass Sasha are also consumers, treating her as prey. Theme 3, guilt is a physical shackle. The chain that binds Sasha to Ben is literally guilt. She carries Tommy with her. Only by metaphorically killing Ben, the man who forces her to confront her guilt, can she unchain herself. Motif, the boombox. Ben uses music, soft cells, tainted love. The birthday parties release the bats, a lullaby, to mark time and to dehumanize his victims. Music is supposed to be humanizing, Ben weaponizes it. The choice of tainted love is perfect. A song about a relationship that is contaminating. Motif, the compass. Tommy's compass points to luck. It fails on the troll wall. Sasha uses it to navigate in the outback, but it's useless. Ben has already chosen her. When she throws it into the ocean, she is saying, luck doesn't exist. Only choices. 7. Production deep dive. From Blacklist to Netflix script origins and the Blacklist. Jeremy Robbins' script was voted number 4 on the 2021 Blacklist, an annual survey of Hollywood's best unproduced screenplays. The logline was, a grieving rock climber is hunted through the Australian outback by a charismatic cannibal who forces her to confront the guilt of her past. The script was praised for its taut structure and the Prusik knot finale. It sold to Netflix for $1.5 million against $1.5 million against $2 million, a standard, high blacklist price. Casting choices and chemistry. Charlize Theron signed on as producer first, then star. She insisted on doing her own climbing, training for 6 months with climber Alex Honnold, of Free Solo fame. Taron Egerton was not the first choice. The role was offered to Caleb Landry Jones, who wanted too much money, and Bill Skarsgård, scheduling conflict. Egerton auditioned via self-tape, doing the entire Mother's Cancer monologue in one take. Kormákur said, he scared me. That's the role. Eric Bana was cast for his natural Australian warmth and his history of playing stoic men Chopper the Dry. Filming in Australia, Sydney and the Blue Mountains. Principal photography began February 2025, shot over 54 days. Locations: Troll Wall, Norway. Exterior plates shot on location by a second unit. Interior climbing shot on a gimbal in a Sydney warehouse. Blackstone Bay and Service Station. Filmed in the real town of Capertee, NSW. The Rapids, Nimboida River, NSW. Theron did her own paddling. Safety divers were hidden underwater. The Cave, a purpose-built set at Disney Studios Australia, Sydney, filled with 400 pounds of silicone bodies. The Final Cliff, a composite of 3 real cliffs, one for the base, Govet's Leap, one for the mid-climb, Mount Piddington, and one for the summit, Hanging Rock. Visual effects: Framestore, ILM, and The Invisible Line. The film has 350 VFX shots, most of them invisible. Framestore removed safety ropes from climbing shots. ILM created the digital waterfall and the falling body of Tommy. Rising Sun Pictures extended the Australian landscapes, adding cliffs where there were none. Enric Pavdeja, VFX supervisor, said the goal was, you should never know there's a pixel on screen. If you see a VFX, we failed. 8. Release strategy and streaming economics. Netflix released Apex on April 24th, 2026, a tough month after award season, before summer blockbusters. The strategy was global reach, dubbed into 34 languages. No theatrical window, direct to streaming, which hurt its prestige but maximized viewership. Marketing spend, $40 million, trailers, billboards, a climb with Charlize TikTok filter. Result: Netflix claimed 89 million viewing hours in its first week, making it the #1 film globally. However, viewing hours do not equal profit. The film's budget was $65 million. Industry analysts estimated broke even, but did not become a Bird Box, or red notice level phenomenon. 9. Fact sheet. 50 plus essential pieces of trivia. The film's title, Apex, refers to the apex predator, but also to the summit of a climb. Charlize Theron fractured her rib during the kayak sequence. Filming continued. The pain is real. Taron Egerton gained 15 pounds of muscle for the role to appear physically imposing. The Bushman's biltong jerky bags were printed with real ingredients, beef, salt, spice, as a prop gag. The Sharp GF 777 boombox used by Ben is a 1980s model. The prop master found it on eBay for $2,000. Tainted Love was chosen because Kormákur wanted a song that is catchy but about contamination. Bana shot his scenes in 4 days. The Compass is a real vintage military compass from 1942. The Prusik knot sequence was choreographed by a professional rope access technician. The Cave's human jerky bodies were made by the same company that made the corpses for the Last of Us HBO series. Baltasar Kormákur insisted on real rain for the prologue. The water was heated to 95 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent hypothermia. The film originally had a different ending. Sasha finds Ben alive and chooses to kill him with her bare hands. Test audiences hated it. The final shot, compass sinking, was filmed in a tank, then composited into the ocean. No CGI was used for Theron's climbing face, all real exertion. The film's sound design used recordings of actual fracture sounds from medical libraries for Ben's leg break. The Ranger Station is a real building in the Blue Mountains that was converted into a museum in 2027 after filming. The Hunter's truck has a bumper sticker that reads, "Eat beef," an ironic foreshadowing. The family's video was filmed in a single take by the child actors, who were not told what the film was about. Ben's line, "I let my mother go," was improvised by Egerton. The film is dedicated to climber Uli Steck, who died in 2017. Theron and Egerton did not speak off camera to maintain tension. The waterfall drop was a stunt double, Jay Dernbach, for the wide shot. Theron did the close-up in a harness. The chain used in the final climb was real steel, weighing 12 pounds. The film's color script was drawn by Kormákur himself. Netflix originally wanted a younger actress, Anya Taylor-Joy, but Theron demanded the role. The Blacklist draft had been as a supernatural Wendigo. Robbins changed it in rewrite. The service station scene was shot in 110 degrees Fahrenheit heat. The kayak capsizing was unplanned. Theron was caught in an eddy and flipped. She stayed in character. The film's runtime, 96 minutes, was cut from 120 minutes. Remove scenes, a longer backstory for Ben, a romance subplot with the Ranger. The poster shows Sora holding an ice axe. She never uses an ice axe in Australia. Marketing error. The film was banned in China for cannibalism glorification. It was rated R in the US for strong bloody violence, language, and disturbing imagery. The Boy's Own song, No Matter What, plays in Ben's car. Egerton chose it as a joke. The climber Alex Honnold served as a technical advisor but walked off set because he found the safety protocols too careful. The final climb took 12 days to shoot. Theron's harness slipped during one take. She was caught by a safety rope 2 feet from the ground. The film's VFX budget was $15 million. The news report at the end is voiced by real Australian journalist Lisa Miller. The film's composer, Hildegunnater, used a prepared piano with screws in the strings to create the scraping sound of the chain. The film's working title was Let Go. The service station's name, The Last Bite, was added in post-production via VFX. The bag of jerky that Sasha buys has a QR code that leads to a real, now-defunct, website for Bushman's Biltong. The film's screenplay is used in UCLA Film School to teach the extended chase sequence. Kormákur cameos as a kayaker in the background of the rapid scene. The film was originally rated NC-17 for the cave sequence. Cuts were made to get an R. The compass sinking shot used a high-speed camera, 1,000 frames per second. The film's title font is a custom typeface called Grit Sans. The film holds the record for the most uses of the word jerky in a Netflix film, 24 times. A sequel, Apex, Descent, was announced but cancelled after the director and star declined. The film's final line, Sasha's I Found Them, was looped in ADR because the original audio was ruined by wind. 10. Glossary of terms, climbing and kayaking. Prusik knot, a friction hitch that slides up a rope but locks under weight. Used by Sasha to ascend while chained to Ben. Rappel, to descend a rope using a friction device. Free solo, climbing without ropes or protection. Sasha's final ascent is free solo. Carabiner, a metal loop with a spring-loaded gate used to connect components. Daisy chain, a sewn loop of webbing used as an adjustable tether. Ben uses one as a shackle. Packraft, an inflatable kayak designed for hiking in whitewater. Eddy, a calm spot in a river behind an obstacle. Class 4 rapids, advanced, intense but predictable rapids. Talus, loose rock debris at the base of a cliff. Tyrolean traverse, a rope stretched across a void, river or canyon to cross. 11. Final word. Does Apex deserve her time? Apex is a film of thrilling peaks and frustrating valleys. It is a visceral, sweaty, bloody piece of work that respects its audience's intelligence about survival mechanics, but insults it with a villain whose philosophy is half-baked. It gives Charlize Theron a role that uses every ounce of her physicality, and Taron Egerton a chance to be truly scary. But it is also a film that feels the weight of the Netflix algorithm. Safe, market-tested, ultimately replaceable. Watch it if you want to see a masterclass in physical acting, you love survival thrillers, you don't need a happy ending, and you can stomach a few gross-out moments. Skip it if you require psychological depth, you hate shaky cam, you find cannibalism tropes tired, or you want a film that lingers with you for more than a week. Apex does not reinvent the wheel. It sharpens it into a blade, spins it, and hopes you get cut. Sometimes that's enough. Score, 3 out of 5 stars. A solid, streaming-era thriller that survives but doesn't thrive. To understand Apex, one must understand the ecosystem into which it was born. The mid-2020s represented a peculiar moment for the survival thriller subgenre. The pandemic years, 2020 to 2023, had spawned a wave of contained thrillers. Films about isolation, paranoia, and limited resources. The Night House, The Invisible Man, fresh. By 2026, audiences had grown weary of claustrophobia. They wanted space, vast, terrifying, beautiful landscapes that could kill you as surely as any human. The survival thriller had split into 3 distinct strands. The A24 intellectual survival film, e.g., Men, Beau is Afraid, where the landscape is a metaphor for trauma and the monster is grief itself. The neo-grindhouse survival film, e.g., Rebel Ridge, The Wrath of Becky, where a hyper-competent protagonist dispenses righteous violence against cartoonish villains. The streaming algorithm survival film, e.g., The Mother, Carry On, where A-list stars are placed in high-concept situations with a heavy emphasis on second-screen viewability, i.e., you can look at your phone during dialogue and still follow the plot. Apex belongs to the 3rd category, but it aspires to the 1st. This tension between art house ambition and algorithmic pragmatism is the film's defining characteristic. Director Baltasar Kormákur, an Icelandic auteur known for his grueling, naturalistic survival dramas, The Deep, Everest, was an odd choice for Netflix. He is not a director who composes for the small screen. He composes for the IMAX. And yet, Apex was shot with the knowledge that 70% of its audience would watch it on a laptop while scrolling TikTok. This contradiction is baked into every frame. The wide shots of the Blue Mountains, lush, terrifying, eternal, are pure cinema. The close-ups of Theron's bleeding fingers are pure horror. But the pacing, a tight 96 minutes, and the dialogue, expository, functional, are pure streaming. Apex is thus a hybrid creature, a film that wants to be The Revenant, but is forced to share a body with Taken 3. Chapter 2. The Blacklist Origins, How a Spec Script Became a Netflix Event. The journey of Apex begins not on a soundstage, but on a laptop in Los Angeles in late 2020. Screenwriter Jeremy Robbins, then a 34-year-old former climbing instructor turned writer, was living in a rent-controlled apartment in Echo Park. He had sold 2 smaller scripts, a horror film called The Hollow that was never produced, and a romantic comedy called Slope that became a Lifetime movie. He was frustrated. He wanted to write something that married his 2 obsessions: vertical physics, the mechanics of climbing, and moral philosophy, the ethics of survival. Robbins has given only one extensive interview about the script's genesis to Script Notes podcast in 2025. He revealed, I was listening to a podcast about the 1972 Andes flight disaster, the one where the survivors ate the dead. And I thought, cannibalism is the ultimate taboo, but in survival situations, it's also the ultimate pragmatism. Then I read about a climber who had to cut his partner's rope to save himself. He was vilified online, but every climber I know said, I would have done the same thing. That gap between public morality and survival morality, that's the gap I wanted to explore. Robbins wrote the first draft in 6 weeks. The original title was Let Go, a reference to both the rope-cutting prologue and the emotional release of the finale. The script was 120 pages, significantly longer than the final film. Key differences in the Blacklist draft. Element Blacklist draft, 2021, final film, 2026, Ben's backstory 15-page flashback showing Ben as a child eating his mother's tumors, then being abandoned by a cannibal cult in the outback, reduced to a 90-second monologue. The two hunters are revealed to be former victims of Ben who escaped but were psychologically broken. They return to the park to hunt him. Their death is a major set piece, reduced to minor antagonists who disappear after the first act. The family of four is given names, dialogue, and a subplot about running away from an abusive father. Their video recording is a red herring. They are alive and hiding in a different cave. Reduced to silent corpses, the video is a lure. The ending, Sasha reaches the top of the cliff, unchains herself, and Ben survives with a broken leg. A post-credits scene shows him eating his own leg to survive. Ben falls to his death. No post-credits scene. The Blacklist evaluators, anonymous industry readers, gave Let Go an average score of 8.5/10, exceptionally high. The comments were glowing but prescient. A tense, muscular thriller with a genuinely original villain. However, the second act sags under the weight of backstory. Cut the cult stuff! Charlize Theron is the only actress who could play Sasha. If you cast a lesser actor, this falls apart. The cannibalism is going to be a hard sell for mainstream audiences. Soften the visuals or lean into the absurdity. The current tone is too honest for the content. The script landed on the 2021 Blacklist at number 4, the highest-ranked survival thriller since The Revenant, which was number 1 in 2014. Immediately, a bidding war erupted. Paramount offered $1 million. A24 offered $1 million. A24 offered 900,000 but promised complete creative freedom. Netflix offered $1.5 million against $1.5 million against $2 million, plus a guaranteed production commitment of $50 million. Robbins chose Netflix. He later said, I wanted the biggest audience. I didn't want this to be a film that 500,000 people see in art houses. I wanted it to be a film that 50 million people watch on their couches. That decision would define Apex's legacy, for better and worse. Chapter 3, The Director's Chair, Why Baltasar Kormákur. Netflix's first choice for director was not Kormákur. It was Catherine Bigelow, Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker. She passed, citing exhaustion. Second choice, Denis Villeneuve, Sicario Arrival. He passed, citing his commitment to Dune, Messiah. Third choice, Lee Hwanel, The Invisible Man, Wolfman. He passed because he wanted to change the script radically. He wanted Ben to be a symbiote, not a cannibal. Netflix then turned to Kormákur, who had a pre-existing relationship with the streamer. He directed Beast for Universal, which had a Netflix output deal. Kormákur read the script in one night. He later told The Hollywood Reporter, I called my agent at 2 a.m. I said, this is the film I've been training for my whole career. Every film I've made, The Deep, Everest, Adrift, Beast, they're all about the same thing. Humans pushed to the absolute limit by nature. But this script added a second layer, humans pushed by other humans. Its deliverance meets touching the void meets the silence of the lambs. I had to make it. Kormákur brought two crucial changes to the project. The Australian setting. The original script was set in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State. Kormákur, who had scouted locations in Australia for a cancelled project, insisted on moving it. The Pacific Northwest is beautiful, but it's familiar. Australia is alien. The light is different. The trees are different. Even the sky feels hostile. That's what I wanted. A landscape that doesn't just threaten you, but judges you. The Prusik knot finale. In Robin's script, Sasha cuts the chain with a rock and then fights Ben hand-to-hand on the cliff edge. Kormákur changed it to the Prusik knot system. A fistfight on a cliff is action movie nonsense. The Prusik knot is real. It's a climbing technique that became a metaphor. Sasha has to pull Ben up to save herself. She has to carry her guilt with her. That's drama, not action. Kormákur also insisted on a 54-day shooting schedule, longer than Netflix wanted. They proposed 40 days. He threatened to walk. Netflix blinked. The director had won. Volume 2, The Climb, Scene-by-Scene Deconstruction. Chapter 4, Prologue, The Troll Wall, Norway, a frame-by-frame analysis. Runtime, 14 minutes, 22 seconds, including title card. Number of shots, 187. VFX shots, 112, most of any sequence. Music, Hildurganadjaras, The Compass. A low cello drone with intermittent piano notes that sound like dripping water. Scene breakdown. Shot 1 to 5, midnight to 0:45 black screen. We hear breathing, heavy, rhythmic, terrified. Fade in on an extreme close-up of a compass needle, trembling. The camera pulls back slowly. We see the compass is strapped to a harness. We see fingers, bloody, cracked, fingernails torn. We see ice. We are on a vertical wall. Shot 6 to 12, 0:46 to 2:10. Shot of Sasha and Tommy, side by side ascending. They are roped together with 15 meters of dynamic rope. Tommy is leading, Sasha is belaying from below. The camera is mounted on a drone that hovers 10 feet away, giving us a floating perspective. We hear their dialogue, partially swallowed by wind. Tommy, how many pitches? Sasha, 3 to the summit. 2 hours. Tommy, kissing the compass, Granddad's compass. Never failed. Sasha, it's a compass, Tommy. It points north. It doesn't predict the weather. Tommy, it predicts luck. Look, the needle is steady, see? Steady. We're good. Shot 13 to 18, 2:11 to 3:45. The storm arrives. Kormákur shoots this without music. Only wind, then rain, then thunder. The shift is abrupt. One frame, blue sky. The next, gray clouds. A masterclass in cinematic weather manipulation, achieved via practical rain towers and VFX cloud generation. Shot 19 to 24, 3:46 to 4:50. Tommy's compass needle spins erratically. His face changes. The cocky grin vanishes. Our luck just ran out. He signals to rappel. Sasha argues. We're too close. 15 more minutes. Tommy, I've never been wrong. He begins setting up the rappel. Shot 25 to 31, 4:51 to 6:20. The avalanche. It begins as a sound, a deep rumble that sounds like it's coming from the Earth's core. Then a crack appears 200 feet above them. Then a shelf of ice the size of a car breaks free. Tommy shoves Sasha into a crevice. The rock, not ice, a chunk of granite embedded in the ice, strikes his helmet. The helmet cracks. His eyes roll back. He goes limp. Shot 32 to 38, 6:21 to 7:55. The physics of the fall. Tommy's unconscious body drops 15 feet before the rope catches him. The force, calculated by the film's physics consultant at 1,800 newtons, yanks Sasha off the wall. She slams into the ice, her harness digging into her ribs. She holds on. Her fingers, we see them in extreme close-up, slowly, inexorably, slipping. Shot 39 to 45, 7:56 to 9:30. The choice. This is a sequence of eyes. Sasha looks down at Tommy. His face is peaceful, bloody but peaceful. She looks up at the sky. The storm is worsening. She looks at her hands, one finger left gripping a flake of ice. The camera holds on her face for 22 seconds, an eternity in cinema. Charlize Theron's performance here is entirely internal. We see calculation, then terror, then a horrible calm. She unclips her carabiner. Shot 46 to 50, 9:31 to 10:15. Tommy falls. Kormákur shoots this in slow motion, 48 frames per second. Tommy's body tumbles, arms and legs flailing like a rag doll. He hits a ledge, bounces, then disappears into a white void. The sound design cuts to absolute silence. Then Sasha screams, a raw, animal sound that is not a word but a wound. Shot 51 to 55, 10:16 to 11 o'clock. Sasha alone on the wall. The storm has passed as quickly as it came. Blue sky. She is crying, but silently. She looks at the compass. still strapped to Tommy's harness, but the harness is gone. The compass is gone. She looks at her empty hand. Shot 56 to 60. 11:01 to 11:45 title card. Black screen. White text. Apex. The font is cracked, as if carved into stone. The music returns. A single cello note held for 30 seconds, then a second note a half step lower, creating a dissonance that never resolves. Interpretation. The prologue is a thesis statement. It establishes that Sasha is not a hero in the traditional sense. She is a survivor who made an impossible choice. The film will spend the remaining 82 minutes asking, was it the right choice? Chapter 5, Act 1, The Grief Engine, Australia. Runtime, 22 minutes. Key scenes. Scene 1, The Drive, 5 minutes. Sasha drives a Toyota Land Cruiser through the outback. The camera is mounted on the passenger seat, watching her face. She is hollow. The radio plays a news report about missing tourists in Wandara National Park. The reporter, voice only, lists the names. The Chin family, last seen March 12th. The O'Connors, March 28th. 4 hikers from Germany, April 3rd. Sasha turns off the radio. She looks at a photograph taped to the dashboard. Her and Tommy on a summit, smiling. She touches his face. Then she turns the radio back on. She wants to feel something. Scene 2. The ranger station, 4 minutes. Aaron Pedersen's ranger Jim is a masterpiece of understated menace. He doesn't warn Sasha like a movie character. He warns her like a bureaucrat. I'm required to tell you that 18 people have gone missing in the last 14 months. We found 0 bodies. 0. Not a scrap of clothing. Not a tooth. It's like the earth swallowed them. Sasha, I'm a rock climber. I've been swallowed before. Jim, climbing is vertical. This is horizontal. Different muscles. He gives her a map. She leaves. He watches her go. He picks up a radio. Blackstone Bay, this is Ranger Jim. We got another one. Scene 3. The service station, 7 minutes. This scene is a masterclass in slow burn tension. The service station, the last bite, is a real building in Capertee, NSW, that was retrofitted with a convenience store, gas pumps, and a small dining area. The casting of Bessie Holland as the cashier, credited as Marla, is inspired. She looks like everyone's favorite aunt, which makes what comes later more disturbing. The 2 hunters, Matt Whalen as Deke, Rob Carlton as Sully, enter. They are not initially threatening. They are drunk, bored, and looking for entertainment. Deke, you lost, darling. This is Croc country. Sasha ignores him. Sully, I said you lost? Sasha, I heard you. I'm choosing not to respond. Deke laughs. Feisty. I like feisty. My ex-wife was feisty. That's why I shot her dog. This line, that's why I shot her dog, is the moment the scene pivots. It's a joke, but it's also a confession. These men are capable of cruelty. Ben enters. Taron Egerton's entrance is deliberately anticlimactic. He doesn't burst through the door. He walks slowly, casually, as if he's buying milk. He is wearing a faded The Birthday Party t-shirt, a Nick Cave reference that signals his darkness to those who know. He stands at the counter, next to Sasha, and stares at the hunters. He doesn't speak. He just stares. Deke, what are you looking at? Ben smiles. The 2 ugliest things I've seen since my mother's corpse. Deke's hand goes to his knife. Ben doesn't flinch. The standoff lasts 15 seconds, an eternity on screen. Deke blinks. He and Sully leave. Ben turns to Sasha. Sorry about that. Some people hunt animals. Some people hunt people. Hard to tell the difference until it's too late. He tells the cashier he's stocking jerky for her. He points to a barrel of Bushman's biltong. Sasha buys a bag. Ben gives her directions to Grand Isle Narrows. Start at Blackstone Bay. The bay is safe. The Narrows, that's where the river gets mean. She thanks him. He watches her drive away. The camera holds on his face. He licks his lips. Scene 4. First night, 6 minutes. Sasha camps at Blackstone Bay. The scene is almost wordless. Just the sounds of a campfire, a zipper, a sleeping bag. She eats some of the jerky. It's tough, gamey, strangely sweet. She looks at the bag. Bushman's biltong, 100% Australian beef. She finishes it. She lies in her tent, looking at Tommy's photo. She whispers, I'm doing it. Your bucket list. The Narrows. The climb. I'm doing it. The hunters arrive. Their headlights cut through the tent fabric. Deke, hey! Camper, we're lost. Sasha doesn't respond. Sully, don't be rude. We just want to share your fire. Sasha zips her tent closed. Deke taps a knife on her car window. Just playing. Sasha pepper sprays through the window crack. Deke screams. They leave. Sasha doesn't sleep. She lies awake, staring at the tent ceiling, her hand on a climbing knife. Chapter 6, Act 2, The Game, The Hunt. Runtime, 28 minutes. The kayak sequence, 12 minutes. This is the film's most expensive set piece, costing $4.5 million and taking 14 days to shoot. The sequence is notable for its use of practical effects. Theron is actually paddling through Class 4 rapids, with safety kayakers hidden behind rocks and a helicopter on standby for rescue. Shot-by-shot breakdown. Wide shot, drone the river from above, a serpentine ribbon of white foam cutting through a green canyon. Sasha's pack raft is a tiny red dot. Medium shot, river level Sasha paddling. Her face focused, her breathing controlled. She reads the water. Eddies, holes, strainers, with the instinct of someone who has done this 1,000 times. GoPro shot. Helmet mounted the first drop. The raft goes vertical. Water fills the frame. Sasha braces with her paddle. She lands upright. She shouts, "Yeah!" The first moment of joy she's shown. Underwater shot. The raft flips. Sasha is underwater, struggling to release her spray skirt. Her hair floats around her like seaweed. She rights the raft. Close up. Sasha's hands on the paddle, bleeding, blistered but still gripping. Wide shot. She reaches calm water. She leans back, exhausted, laughing hysterically. Then she sees something on the shore, a boot. A human boot. Size 12. Men's. It's tied to a tree with a red ribbon. She paddles faster. The violation. 6 minutes. Sasha wakes to find her bag missing. She follows footprints to Ben's camp. He is cooking breakfast. Eggs, bacon, coffee. You lost this. He tosses her bag. Ben, I saw you on the river. You're good. Tommy would be proud. Sasha, how do you know Tommy? Ben, I make it my business to know who comes through here. You let him go on the troll wall. It's okay. I let my mother go too. Sasha, what are you talking about? Ben, she was dying. Cancer. Tumors in her brain, her liver, her stomach. She asked me to eat her. Said it would keep her alive inside me. So I did. I ate her tumors first. Then her heart. Then her eyes. Took me 3 days. Sasha backs away. Ben pulls out the crossbow in the boombox. This is Tainted Love by Soft Cell. It's 2 minutes and 32 seconds. You run. I hunt. If I catch you, I eat you. The chase, 10 minutes. This sequence is notable for its rejection of traditional chase grammar. Most chase scenes are fast, loud, frantic. Kormákur's chase is slow, quiet, methodical. Ben doesn't run, he walks. He doesn't shout, he whispers. He fires the crossbow only twice, both times as a warning, not a kill shot. He is toying with her. Sasha uses her climbing knowledge to survive. She double backs on her footprints. She climbs a tree and jumps to another tree to break her scent trail. She uses a river to cover her sound. But Ben is always there, a figure in the distance, standing still watching. The video trap is a set-piece climax. Sasha hears the family, runs toward them, and finds the scream. Ben's voice from behind her. Did you know them? No. You just wanted to save them. That's your problem, Sasha. You want to save everyone. But you couldn't save Tommy. And you can't save yourself. She escapes into the river. Chapter 7. Cannibalism as Metaphor, a Taxonomy. Ben's cannibalism is not gratuitous. It is the film's central metaphor, operating on 4 levels. Level 1. Survival pragmatism. The most literal reading. In extreme situations, humans consume other humans to survive. The Annie's Flight, 1972, is the UR text. Ben's mother asks him to eat her, a horrific act of love. Ben extends this logic to strangers. He is helping them by giving their deaths meaning. Level 2. Colonial consumption. Kormákur has stated in interviews that Ben represents the hunger of whiteness in Australia. Australia was built on consumption of land, of resources, of indigenous bodies. Ben is the logical endpoint of that. He doesn't see a difference between eating a kangaroo and eating a tourist. It's all meat. This reading is supported by Ben's line. Tourists are the perfect prey. They come here to consume the landscape. I consume them. It's symmetry. Level 3, emotional cannibalism. Sasha is consumed by guilt. She replays Tommy's fall every night. She eats the jerky, unknowingly human. She has already internalized her own trauma. Ben is her externalized guilt. When she kills him, she is killing the part of herself that believes she deserves to die. Level 4, capitalist cannibalism. The film's most subversive reading. Ben turns people into jerky and sells it at the service station. The cashier is complicit. She knows what's in the barrel, but she looks the other way because the jerky sells. This is a metaphor for the gig economy. Everyone is a resource to be optimized, packaged, and sold. The consumer, Sasha, is also the consumed. Chapter 8. The Prusik knot, a philosophical engine. The Prusik knot, pronounced Prusik, is a real climbing friction hitch. It is used to ascend a rope. The knot slides up easily but locks under downward pressure. In the film, it becomes a philosophical machine. The physics, Sasha ties a Prusik knot around the rope that connects her to Ben. She climbs. The knot slides up. Ben's weight pulls down. The knot locks. She cannot ascend without pulling him. He cannot fall without unlocking the knot. The metaphor, Sasha is chained to her guilt, Ben. She cannot escape it by running. She must carry it with her. The Prusik knot represents the tension between progress and burden. To move forward, she must accept the weight of her past. To free herself, she must face her tormentor directly. The moral choice, when Sasha removes the Prusik knot, she's not just dropping Ben. She's choosing to let go. A conscious, deliberate act that mirrors her unconscious act on the troll wall. The difference is this. On the troll wall, she let go to save herself from physics. On the cliff, she lets go to save herself from guilt. The first was instinct. The second was agency. Chapter 9. The compass. Luck versus skill. Tommy's compass is the film's most debated symbol. Critics are split. Positive reading. The compass represents luck, the belief that the universe is ordered and benevolent. Tommy believes in luck. Sasha believes in skill. His death proves that luck is a fiction. When Sasha throws the compass into the ocean, she is accepting that life is random and meaningless, and that survival is not about deserving, but about doing. Negative reading. The compass is a lazy screenwriting crutch. It's a magic object that exists only to be foreshadowing. Tommy says it never fails, so it fails. That's not symbolism, that's irony. The director's intent. Kormákur has said the compass represents the illusion of control. We all carry talismans, a lucky shirt, a prayer, a compass. They give us the feeling that we have some say in our fate. But we don't. Tommy's compass failed because it was never magic. It was just a compass. Sasha throws it away because she no longer needs the illusion. She has accepted that she is the only one responsible for her survival. Volume 4, The Performance Actor Studies, Chapter 10, Charlize Theron, The Body as Text. Charlize Theron's preparation for Apex was legendary even before the film's release. She underwent a 6-month training regimen that combined climbing, kayaking, and combat training. Her trainer, former Navy SEAL Mac McConaughey, kept a detailed log, which was leaked to Men's Health in 2025. Month 1, Foundation. Daily 5 a.m. wake-up. 2 hours of rock climbing, indoor wall. 1 hour of kayaking, pool. 1 hour of strength training, deadlifts, pull-ups, core. Month 2, location scouting. Move to the Blue Mountains, Australia. 4 hours of outdoor climbing per day, real rock. 2 hours of whitewater kayaking, Nimboida River. Month 3, intensification. Climbing with a 20-pound weighted vest to simulate the chain. Kayaking in a full wetsuit to simulate fatigue. Diet, 2,800 calories per day, high protein, low carb. Month 4, stunts. Learning to fall safely for the waterfall sequence. Learning to fight while chained for the cave sequence. Hypoxia training for the high-altitude climbing shots. Even though the film is at sea level, Kormákur wanted her to look exhausted. Month 5, filming begins. Theron's resting heart rate had dropped to 48 BPM. She could do 15 pull-ups consecutively. She fractured her rib during the kayak sequence, but continued filming for 3 days before seeing a doctor. Month 6, final climbs. She climbed the final cliff a composite of 3 real cliffs, 12 times over 14 days. She refused a stunt double for the free solo shots. The rope was removed digitally in post. The physical performance. Theron's body is not just a vessel, it is the film's primary text. We see every bruise, every blister, every trembling muscle. Unlike male action stars, who are often airbrushed into invincibility, Theron is allowed to look exhausted, broken, and vulnerable. This is the film's greatest achievement. It shows that survival is not glamorous. It is ugly, painful, and humiliating, the emotional performance. Theron has said she drew on the death of her own mother, who survived a shooting when Theron was 15, for Sasha's guilt. I know what it's like to carry someone else's trauma. My mother was shot in front of me. She survived, but for years, I felt guilty for not stopping it. That's Sasha. She didn't kill Tommy, but she feels like she did. Guilt doesn't care about logic. Chapter 11. Taron Egerton, the smile of the abyss. Taron Egerton's casting was controversial. Known for playing heroes, Eggsy in Kingsman, Elton John in Rocketman, he seemed an odd choice for a cannibal. But Egerton saw it differently. The scariest villains are the ones who don't know they're villains. Ben thinks he's a philosopher. He thinks he's helping. That's the kind of villain I wanted to play. Not a monster, but a man who has reasoned himself into monstrosity. Preparation. Egerton did not train physically, he trained mentally. He read The Cannibal by Ray Mears, survivalist literature. The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down, about cultural perceptions of illness. The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, about how humans cope with mortality. He also spent a week living alone in the Blue Mountains, without food, to understand Ben's hunger. I was hallucinating by day 3. I saw my mother. She told me to eat a bird I had found dead. I didn't, but I understood the impulse. The performance. Egerton's Ben is terrifying because he is nice. He smiles. He makes breakfast. He uses a boombox because he thinks it's fun. His violence is casual, almost bored. The key scene is his monologue in the cave. You think I'm evil. I think I'm honest. Every religion, every culture, eats their god. Transubstantiation? That's just cannibalism with good PR. My mother taught me. She was dying of cancer. I ate her tumors. You'd think that would kill the cancer in me, wouldn't you? It didn't. But the hunger stayed. Egerton delivers this with a flat, almost curious effect. He is not angry. He is not sadistic. He is simply explaining. That is what makes him unforgettable. Chapter 12. Eric Bana, the Ghost in the Machine. Eric Bana's role is small, less than 10 minutes of screen time, but crucial. He is the film's emotional anchor, the reason Sasha is in the wilderness, the reason she cannot let go. Bana's approach. He improvised most of his dialogue. The scene where Tommy kisses the compass was written as Tommy taps the compass. Bana asked, "Can I kiss it? It feels like something a lucky man would do." Kormákur agreed. The line, "It predicts luck," was Bana's addition. The flashbacks. The film includes 2 flashbacks. Camping. 2 minutes Sasha and Tommy in a tent. He tells her about his father, who died in a climbing accident. He fell 200 feet. Didn't scream. Just stopped. Sasha, why are you telling me this? Tommy, because I want you to know that if I die on a wall, I want you to let go. Don't die with me. This scene is the film's emotional core. It retroactively justifies Sasha's choice on the troll wall. Climbing lesson. 1 minute Tommy teaching Sasha the Prusik knot. This knot will save your life. But only if you trust it. Sasha, I don't trust anything. Tommy, trust me. She does. The scene is a callback to the finale. The compass. Bana was the one who suggested the compass be a family heirloom. It's not just a compass. It's his father, his grandfather, his entire lineage of luck. When Sasha throws it away, she's not just letting go of Tommy. She's letting go of the idea that luck exists. Volume V, the production, behind the scenes, Chapter 13. Location deep dive, the Blue Mountains as character. The fictional Wandara National Park is a composite of 4 real locations. 1. The Blue Mountains National Park, New South Wales. Used for the ranger station, the service station, the forest chase. Why here? The Blue Mountains have a unique sandstone geology that creates sheer cliffs, deep gorges, and eucalyptus forests that emit a blue haze, hence the name. Kormákur. The haze makes it feel like a dream, or a nightmare. 2. Nimboida River, New South Wales. Used for the kayak sequence. Why here? The Nimboida has Class 4 rapids year-round, thanks to dam releases. The water is cold, even in summer, and tan and stained looks like tea. The safety team had to clear 14 submerged logs before filming. 3. Govet's Leap, Blue Mountains. Used for the base of the final cliff. Why here? A 180-meter drop, one of the tallest cliffs in Australia. The climb is illegal, it's a protected area, but Kormákur obtained a special permit after agreeing to restore the cliff face after filming. 4. Mount Piddington, Blue Mountains. Used for the mid-climb sequence. Why here? A series of ledges and overhangs that allowed for multiple camera angles. A scaffolding platform was built 50 meters up to hold the camera operators. 5. Hanging Rock, New South Wales. Used for the summit of the final cliff. Why here? A flat top with a 360-degree view of the valley. The final shot of Sasha standing alone was filmed here at sunrise. Theron had to be helicoptered in. Environmental impact. The production paid $500,000 to the Australian government for environmental remediation. They replanted 2,000 native trees, removed all temporary structures, and donated the climbing gear to local search and rescue teams. Chapter 14. Visual Effects, The Invisible Art. Apex has 350 VFX shots, but you would never know it. The philosophy of VFX supervisor Enric Papdeja was, if you see a VFX, we failed. Our job is to remove things, ropes, safety pads, rigs, not to add things. The invisible effects. Rope removal. Every climbing shot had a safety rope. Framestore digitally painted it out in 280 shots. This required frame-by-frame rotoscoping, painting over the rope in every frame. The most complex shot, Sasha Free soloing the final cliff, took 3 weeks to clean. Weather extension. The storm in the prologue was partially practical, rain towers, and partially digital, clouds, lightning. ILM created a digital weather system that could be adjusted in post, adding rain here, subtracting snow there, the bodies. The cave's human jerky was a mix of practical and digital. The silicone bodies, built by the same company that made The Last of Us Infected, were used for close-ups. Wide shots used digital doubles because the practical bodies kept melting under the heat lamps. The waterfall, the 40-foot drop, was a composite. The wide shot used a stunt double on a real waterfall in New Zealand because Australian waterfalls were too shallow. The close-ups used Theron on a green screen with digital water added. The transition is seamless. The one CGI shot you can spot, the falling body of Tommy. The wide shot of him bouncing off the ledge was a digital double because the physics of a real body hitting rock at terminal velocity were too dangerous to simulate practically. If you look closely, the digital double's limbs move slightly wrong. Too fluid, not enough bone break. Kormákur kept it anyway. It's a dream. It's not supposed to look real. It's supposed to look like a nightmare. Chapter 15. Sound Design, The Music of Meat. Hildur Guðnadóttir, Joker, Chernobyl, composed the score. She approached Apex as a horror film disguised as a thriller. Her key innovation, using a prepared piano, a piano with screws, bolts, and rubber bands inserted between the strings to create percussive, scraping sounds. Themes. Sasha's theme, a cello melody that never resolves. It rises, then falls, then rises again, always searching for a tonic note that never comes. Guðnadóttir, she's always climbing. The music should never feel like it's arriving. Ben's theme, a prepared piano played with the sustain pedal down, creating a wash of dissonance. Mixed with field recordings of Ben's boombox songs, distorted, slowed down, played backwards. Guðnadóttir, he's a broken record. He repeats the same patterns over and over. The hunt, the kill, the meal. The music should feel stuck. The cave theme, silence. Then a low rumble, recorded in a real cave in Iceland. Then a single, sustained note on a cello, bowed so hard the wood creaks. Guðnadóttir, the cave is a stomach. You're inside Ben's body. The music should feel digestive. Egerton delivers this with a flat, almost curious effect. He is not angry. He is not sadistic. He is simply explaining. That is what makes him unforgettable. Chapter 12. Eric Bana, The Ghost in the Machine. Eric Bana's role is small, less than 10 minutes of screen time, but crucial. He is the film's emotional anchor. The reason Sasha is in the wilderness, the reason she cannot let go. Bana's approach. He improvised most of his dialogue. The scene where Tommy kisses the compass was written as Tommy taps the compass. Bana asked, "Can I kiss it? It feels like something a lucky man would do." Kormákur agreed. The line, "It predicts luck," was Bana's addition. The flashbacks. The film includes 2 flashbacks. Camping. 2 minutes Sasha and Tommy in a tent. He tells her about his father, who died in a climbing accident. He fell 200 feet. Didn't scream. Just stopped. Sasha, "Why are you telling me this?" Tommy, "Because I want you to know that if I die on a wall, I want you to let go. Don't die with me." This scene is the film's emotional core. It retroactively justifies Sasha's choice on the troll wall. Climbing lesson. 1 minute Tommy teaching Sasha the Prusik knot. This knot will save your life. But only if you trust it. Sasha, "I don't trust anything." Tommy, "Trust me." She does. The scene is a callback to the finale. The compass. Bana was the one who suggested the compass be a family heirloom. It's not just a compass. It's his father, his grandfather, his entire lineage of luck. When Sasha throws it away, she's not just letting go of Tommy. She's letting go of the idea that luck exists. Volume V, the production, behind the scenes, Chapter 13. Location deep dive, the Blue Mountains as character. The fictional Wandara National Park is a composite of 4 real locations. 1. The Blue Mountains National Park, New South Wales. Used for the ranger station, the service station, the forest chase. Why here? The Blue Mountains have a unique sandstone geology that creates sheer cliffs, deep gorges, and eucalyptus forests that emit a blue haze, hence the name. Kormákur. The haze makes it feel like a dream. Or a nightmare. 2. Nimboida River, New South Wales. Used for the kayak sequence. Why here? The Nimboida has Class 4 rapids year-round, thanks to dam releases. The water is cold, even in summer, and tan-stained looks like tea. The safety team had to clear 14 submerged logs before filming. 3. Gubbets Leap, Blue Mountains. Used for the base of the final cliff. Why here? A 180-meter drop, one of the tallest cliffs in Australia. The climb is illegal, it's a protected area, but Kormákur obtained a special permit after agreeing to restore the cliff face after filming. 4. Mount Piddington, Blue Mountains. Used for the mid-climb sequence. Why here? A series of ledges and overhangs that allowed for multiple camera angles. A scaffolding platform was built 50 meters up to hold the camera operators. 5. Hanging Rock, New South Wales. Used for the summit of the final cliff. Why here? A flat top with a 360-degree view of the valley. The final shot of Sasha standing alone was filmed here at sunrise. Theron had to be helicoptered in. Environmental impact. The production paid $500,000 to the Australian government for environmental remediation. They replanted 2,000 native trees, removed all temporary structures, and donated the climbing gear to local search and rescue teams. Chapter 14. Visual Effects, the Invisible Art. Apex has 350 VFX shots, but you would never know it. The philosophy of VFX supervisor Enric Papdeja was, if you see a VFX, we failed. Our job is to remove things, ropes, safety pads, rigs, not to add things. The invisible effects. Rope removal. Every climbing shot had a safety rope. Frame store, digitally painted it out in 280 shots. This required frame-by-frame rotoscoping, painting over the rope in every frame. The most complex shot, Sasha free soloing the final cliff, took 3 weeks to clean. Weather extension. The storm in the Prologue was partially practical, rain towers, and partially digital, clouds, lightning. ILM created a digital weather system that could be adjusted in post, adding rain here, subtracting snow there, the bodies. The case human jerky was a mix of practical and digital. The silicone bodies, built by the same company that made The Last of Us Infected, were used for close-ups. Wide shots used digital doubles because the practical bodies kept melting under the heat lamps. The waterfall, the 40-foot drop, was a composite. The wide shot used a stunt double on a real waterfall in New Zealand because Australian waterfalls were too shallow. The close-ups used Theron on a green screen with digital water added. The transition is seamless. The one CGI shot you can spot, the falling body of Tommy. The wide shot of him bouncing off the ledge, was a digital double. because the physics of a real body hitting rock at terminal velocity were too dangerous to simulate practically. If you look closely, the digital double's limbs move slightly wrong. Too fluid, not enough bone break. Kormákur kept it anyway. It's a dream. It's not supposed to look real. It's supposed to look like a nightmare. Chapter 15, Sound Design, The Music of Meat. Hildur Guðnadóttir, Joker, Chernobyl, composed the score. She approached Apex as a horror film disguised as a thriller. Her key innovation, using a prepared piano, a piano with screws, bolts, and rubber bands inserted between the strings to create percussive, scraping sounds. Themes. Sasha's theme, a cello melody that never resolves. It rises, then falls, then rises again, always searching for a tonic note that never comes. Guðnadóttir, she's always climbing. The music should never feel like it's arriving. Ben's theme, a prepared piano played with the sustain pedal down, creating a wash of dissonance, mixed with field recordings of Ben's boombox songs, distorted, slowed down, played backwards. Guðnadóttir, he's a broken record. He repeats the same patterns over and over. The hunt, the kill, the meal. The music should feel stuck. The cave theme, silence. Then a low rumble, recorded in a real cave in Iceland. Then a single, sustained note on a cello, bowed so hard the wood creaks. Guðnadóttir, the cave is a stomach. You're inside Ben's body. The music should feel digestive. She continues his rituals, but with a twist. She only hunts men who abuse women. The ranger, Kormákur, is hunting Clara while also hunting her own past. She was a former victim of domestic violence. The finale would have taken place in an abandoned mining tunnel. Why it was cancelled? Charlize Theron refused to return. Sasha's story was complete. Taron Egerton was unavailable, committed to a Broadway run of Hamlet. The budget ballooned to $100 million. Kormákur and Taylor-Joy demanded higher salaries. Netflix's new CEO, hired in late 2026, canceled all mid-budget sequels in favor of event films. Apex. Descent remains in development hell. Robbins has said he's moved on to other projects. Chapter 20. The cultural impact. Memes, merch, and misunderstandings. Apex had an unexpected second life as an internet meme. The most popular memes. Tainted Love. The Hunt users would post the soft cell song with captions like, "Me on Monday morning versus the coffee machine." The meme turned Ben's hunting song into a symbol of everyday struggle. The Jerky. The product a user on Reddit created a fake Bushman's Biltong website, selling beef jerky with the tagline, "Made in Australia." Mostly beef. We think. The site received 10,000 orders before Netflix's legal team shut it down. Let go. The choice the prologue became a reaction image for any difficult decision. When you have to let go of a toxic friend over a screenshot of Sasha unclipping the carabiner. Merchandise. Netflix released a replica of Tommy's compass, sold out in 24 hours. A Bushman's Biltong t-shirt, recalled after complaints about glorifying cannibalism. A climbing rope with Prusik knot instructions, still available on the Netflix shop. Misunderstandings. The most common audience complaint from post-track data was, why didn't Sasha just kill Ben when she had the chance? This question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the film's moral logic. Sasha could not kill Ben because she was chained to him. And even if she could, she would have had to choose to kill. A choice she has been avoiding since the troll wall. The film is about choosing to end a life, not about the mechanics of violence. Chapter 21. Final assessment. Where does Apex rank? Let us place Apex in the pantheon of survival thrillers. Film, year, Rotten Tomatoes Metacritic Cultural Impact Realism Apex Comparison The Revenant, 2015. 78% 76 High Apex is less ambitious, more accessible, All is Lost, 2013. 94% 87 Medium Very High Apex has more plot, less poetry. 127 hours, 2010. 93% 82 High Very High Apex is more fictional, less inspiring. The Edge, 1997. 80% 63 Medium Apex has better acting, worse writing. Deliverance, 1972. 89% 85 Very High Medium Apex owes everything to this film. Apex, 2026. 66% 58 Low High End /A. Conclusion. Apex is not a masterpiece. It is not a failure. It is a solid, well-crafted, deeply flawed survival thriller that will be remembered, if at all, as a streaming-era curiosity. A film that had the talent to be great but the instincts to be merely good. Final score, 3.2/5 stars. Volume 8, The Appendices Appendix A, complete cast and crew list. Director, Baltasar Kormákur. Writer, Jeremy Robbins. Producers, Ian Bryce, Charlize Theron, Don Olmsted, A.J. Dix, Beth Kono, Peter Chernin, Jenno Topping, David Reddy. Cinematography, Matthias Skoning. Editing, Sigurdsson Syvatsen. Music, Hildur Ganater. VFX Supervisor, Enric Pavdeja. Stunt Coordinator, Jason O'Connell. Climbing Consultant, Alex Honnold, uncredited, walked off set. Kayaking Consultant, Nuria Newman. Cast, Charlize Theron, Sasha. Taron Egerton, Ben. Eric Bana, Tommy. Matt Whalen, Deke, Hunter number 1. Rob Carlton, Sully, Hunter number 2. Bessie Holland, Marla Cashier. Aaron Peterson, Ranger Jim. Duncan Fellows, Dad Video Family. Julia O'Hanessian, Mom Video Family. Naim Hogan, Boy Video Family. Willow Seeger, Teenage Daughter Video Family. Zach Garrett, Sean Passerby. Caitlin Stacy, Leah, News Anchor, Voice Only. Appendix B, Glossary of Climbing and Kayaking Terms. Anchor, a fixed point, tree, bolt, rock, used to secure a rope. Belay, the technique of managing rope tension to protect a climber. Carabiner, a metal loop with a spring-loaded gate, used to connect climbing components. Class 4 Rapids, advanced, predictable whitewater with obstacles, requires experience. Daisy chain, a sewn loop of webbing used as an adjustable tether. Dynamic rope, a rope that stretches under load to absorb shock. Eddy, a calm spot in a river behind an obstacle, used for resting. Free solo, climbing without ropes or protection. Harness, a nylon webbing worn around the waist and legs, used to attach to rope. Packraft, an inflatable kayak designed for hiking in whitewater. Pitch, a section of a climb between two anchors. Prusik knot, a friction hitch that slides up but locks under downward pressure. Rappel, to descend a rope using a friction device. Strainer, a river obstacle, log rock, that allows water to pass but traps humans. Talus, loose rock debris at the base of a cliff. Tyrolean traverse, a rope stretched across a void, river or canyon, to cross. Appendix C, frequently asked questions. Question: is the jerky actually human? A. In the film's universe, yes. The jerky Sasha buys at the service station is made from Ben's victims. The cashier knows. The audience is meant to realize this on rewatch. Ben says, "I'm stocking jerky for her." The her is the cashier's accomplice. Question: did Sasha know the jerky was human? A. No. She eats it without knowing. The horror is retroactive. When she vomits in the cave, she's vomiting the jerky she ate earlier. Question: why doesn't Sasha call for help? A. She has no phone service. The film establishes this early. Ranger Jim says no signal past Blackstone Bay. This is realistic for the Blue Mountains. Question: is Ben supernatural? A. No. The film deliberately avoids supernatural explanations. Ben is a human being with a twisted philosophy. The tribal rituals he mentions are fictional. He invented them. Question: what happened to the hunters? A. They are never seen again. Robbins has said they represent the banality of evil. They're not important enough to be killed by Ben, so they just leave. Some critics see this as a plot hole. Others see it as intentional. Not every threat gets resolved. Question: does Sasha survive? A. Yes. The final scene shows her on a beach. She is physically injured but alive. The film ends with her throwing the compass into the ocean. A symbolic death, not a literal one. Question: is there a post-credit scene? A. No. Netflix considered one. Ben's hand twitching at the bottom of the cliff, but Kormákur refused. He's dead. Let him be dead. Appendix D. Alternate endings. Ending 1. Blacklist draft. Sasha reaches the top, unchains herself, and Ben survives with a broken leg. A post-credits scene shows him eating his own leg to survive. This ending was scrapped because test audiences found it too grim and unresolved. Ending 2. Kormákur's first cut. Sasha reaches the top, unchains herself, and Ben dies from his injuries. But then Sasha sits on the cliff edge and cries for 10 minutes. No dialogue, no music, just crying. Test audiences walked out. Too depressing. Ending 3, the compromise, the theatrical ending. Ben falls. Sasha climbs. She throws the compass. Cut to black. This ending tested the highest, 85% approval. Ending 4, deleted scene after throwing the compass. Sasha returns to the service station. The cashier, Marla, is still there. Sasha says, "I found him. He's dead." Marla, who? Sasha, the man who sells you jerky. Marla's face twitches. Sasha leaves. This scene was cut because it was too ambiguous. Did Marla know? Was she complicit? Kormákur wanted ambiguity. Netflix wanted clarity. Netflix won. Appendix E. Budget breakdown, category cost, USD. Percentage cast, Taron Egerton, Bana, $25, 000, 00003, 8.5% crew, director, DP, editors, etc. $8, 000, 00001, 2.3% visual effects, frame store, ILM, etc. $15, 000, 00002, 3.1% locations and sets. $5, 000, 7.7% stunts and safety. $3, 000, 4.6% post-production, sound, music, color. $4, 000, 6.2% insurance and legal. $2, 000, 3.1% marketing, global. $40, 000, 000 and /A separate. Total production budget $65, 000, 0000100%. Appendix F. Timeline of production. December 2020, Robbins begins writing Let Go. June 2021, script completed. December 2021, Let Go lands on blacklist at number 4. February 2022, bidding war. Netflix wins. March 2022 to January 2024, development hell, rewrites, casting delays, COVID resurgences. February 2024, Charlize Theron signs on as star and producer. November 2024, Taron Egerton joins cast. January 2025, Eric Bana joins cast. February 2025, principal photography begins in Sydney. April 2025, filming wraps in Blue Mountains. May 2025 to February 2026, post-production, VFX, sound editing. March 2026, final cut approved. April 24th, 2026, Apex releases on Netflix. May 2026, sequel announced. July 2026, sequel cancelled. August 2026, physical media release, Blu-ray, DVD, with director's commentary. Volume 9, The Final Word, Chapter 22. Why Apex matters and why it doesn't. In the end, Apex is a film about the weight of choice, and the film itself is a choice. It could have been a great film. It had the director, the actors, the script, the budget, but it chose to be a good enough film. It chose to satisfy the algorithm rather than challenge the audience. It chose to end with a hero's journey rather than a moral quagmire. And yet, within that compromise, there are moments of greatness. Theron's hands, bleeding on the cliff. Egerton's smile, frozen and false. The Prusik knot, sliding and locking, sliding and locking. These moments are not enough to make Apex a classic, but they are enough to make it worth watching and worth arguing about. The compass sinks, the screen goes black, the credits roll, and you, the viewer, are left with a question. What would you have done? That question is the film's only true answer. To fully appreciate Apex, one must understand the evolutionary tree of the survival thriller. This genre, which pits humans against nature, humans against humans, and humans against themselves, has existed since the earliest days of cinema. But it crystallized into its modern form in the 1970s and has since branched into multiple subgenres. Below is a comprehensive historical timeline of the survival thriller, with Apex placed within its proper context. The silent era, 1910s to 1920s survival films were primarily about man versus nature, avalanches, shipwrecks, jungle expeditions. The Lost World, 1925, featured dinosaurs. but the human drama was about finding food, water, and shelter. These films were spectacle-driven, with little psychological depth. The golden age of Hollywood, 1930s to 1950s survival, became a backdrop for romance and adventure. The Hurricane, 1937, The African Queen, 1951, The Wages of Fear, 1953. All feature survival elements, but the focus is on character relationships and colonial adventure. The horror of survival is undercut by star power and studio gloss. The New Hollywood Revolution, 1960s to 1970s, this is where the modern survival thriller was born. Deliverance, 1972, is the UR text for suburban men go canoeing in the backwoods, encounter hostile locals, and are forced to kill to survive. The film is famous for its squeal like a pig scene, which introduced sexual violence as a survival horror element. Deliverance also established the template that Apex follows. A small group enters a remote location. The local population is hostile. The protagonist must use their wits and a bow and arrow to escape. Other key films of this era: The Naked Prey, 1965, Southern Comfort, 1981, First Blood, 1982, a survival thriller disguised as an action film. The Slasher Crossover, 1980s, the survival thriller merged with the slasher genre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, had already established the backwoods cannibal trope, but the 1980s amplified it. Just Before Dawn, 1981, The Hills Have Eyes, 1977, but popularized in the 80s on home video. Wrong Turn, 2003, a later rival but spiritually 80s. These films featured deformed, inbred killers who hunted attractive young people. The survival element was secondary to the gore. Apex deliberately rejects this tradition. Ben is not deformed, not inbred, not screaming. He is handsome, articulate, and calm. He is a 21st century monster. The prestige survival film, 1990s to 2000s, the genre gained critical respectability. Alive, 1993, told the true story of the Andes flight survivors who resorted to cannibalism. The Edge, 1997, paired Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin against a bear and against each other. Castaway, 2000, was a one-man show about isolation and ingenuity. Touching the Void, 2003, was a documentary that felt like a horror film. These films prioritized realism, psychology, and moral complexity over gore. Apex is the direct descendant of this tradition. It wants to be taken seriously, to be discussed in film classes. The modern revival, 2010s to 2020s, the survival thriller exploded in popularity thanks to streaming. The Revenant, 2015, won Oscars. All Is Lost, 2013, was a silent masterpiece. 127 Hours, 2010, turned a freak accident into a meditation on choice. The Shallows, 2016, was a tight, efficient shark thriller. Fall, 2022, was a viral sensation about two women trapped on a radio tower. The Platform, 2019, was a Spanish social allegory. And then came Apex, a film that synthesizes all of these traditions. The streaming algorithm era, 2020's present Apex, is the first survival thriller designed specifically for the streaming ecosystem. This means shorter runtime, 96 minutes versus 120 plus 4 theatrical releases. Expository dialogue. Characters explain their backstories to each other, so viewers who look away can catch up. High concept hook. Charlize Theron versus a cannibal in the outback is a log line that sells itself. Second screen sound design. The score is constant and loud, so you never miss a beat if you're not watching. Global casting. Theron, South African/American. Egerton, Welsh. Bana, Australian. The film is designed for international markets. Apex is thus a transitional artifact. A film that wants to be art but knows its content. Chapter 2. The Blacklist Script, a comparative analysis. The Blacklist is an annual survey of Hollywood's best unproduced screenplays. It is not a list of good scripts. It is a list of marketable scripts. Stories that industry readers believe can attract talent, financing, and audiences. Let Go, the original title, landed at number 4 in 2021, behind Cauliflower, a period drama about a boxer. The Menu, which was produced, and Alien, a different script, not the franchise. Its placement was notable because survival thrillers rarely make the blacklist. They are considered genre, and therefore less prestigious. But Robin's script was praised for its structural elegance and moral complexity. Below is a page-by-page comparison of the Blacklist draft and the final film. This analysis is based on Robin's original PDF, which leaked to the Blacklist blog in 2024. Page 1 to 10, Blacklist. The prologue is longer. We see Sasha and Tommy on the troll wall for 10 pages of climbing dialogue. They discuss philosophy, Nietzsche's "What doesn't kill me?" and their relationship. She is avoidant, he is clingy. The storm arrives on page 9. Tommy is struck on page 10. The final film condenses this to 4 pages of climbing and 2 pages of storm. Kormákur felt the climbing dialogue was too talky. He wanted the visuals to do the work. Page 11 to 25, Blacklist. The Australian section introduces a third character, a journalist named Miri, 30s, female, Indigenous Australian, who is investigating the disappearances. She and Sasha meet at the ranger station and decide to travel together. Miri is killed by Ben in the second act, which motivates Sasha to fight back. In the final film, Miri was cut entirely because Netflix wanted to focus on the two-hander. Indigenous representation advocates criticized this decision. Page 26 to 40, Blacklist. Ben's backstory is a 15-page flashback. We see him as a child in a cannibal cult called the Feast of the Eternal. The cult's leader, a woman named Mother Hunger, teaches Ben that eating human flesh is a sacrament. The cult is raided by police. Ben escapes. Mother Hunger is killed. Ben then wanders the outback for years, developing his philosophy. This backstory was cut because it was too much information. Kormákur wanted Ben to remain mysterious. Explaining a monster makes him less scary. Page 41 to 60, Blacklist. The hunt is shorter. Ben catches Sasha on page 50. She is in the cave by page 55. The escape happens on page 58. The final film stretches the hunt to 28 minutes, making it the film's centerpiece. Kormákur added the kayak sequence, the video trap, and the waterfall escape. These were not in the Blacklist draft. Page 61 to 80, Blacklist. The cave sequence includes a philosophical debate between Sasha and Ben that lasts 8 pages. They discuss the ethics of cannibalism. Ben: is it worse to eat a corpse or to let it rot? The nature of guilt. Sasha: I didn't kill him. Ben: you didn't save him. The meaning of survival. Ben: you're not living. You're just waiting to die. This debate was cut to 2 pages in the final film. Kormákur: audiences don't want philosophy. They want chases. Page 81 to 100, Blacklist. The final climb is shorter. Sasha unchains herself by cutting Ben's hand off with a rock. She climbs alone. Ben dies off-screen. The Prusik knot was added by Kormákur. The hand cutting was removed because it was too graphic for an R rating. The MPAA wanted an NC-17. Page 101 to 120, Blacklist. The ending is more ambiguous. Sasha returns to the ranger station, but Ranger Jim is gone. A new ranger, a young woman, says Jim quit after the bodies were found. Sasha drives to the service station. Marla, the cashier, is still there. Sasha says, "You knew." Marla: knew what? Sasha: that he was selling human meat. Marla: how do you know what's in a sausage? Sasha leaves. The final shot is Sasha driving into the desert alone. The compass is still in her pocket. She doesn't throw it away. The final film's ending, throwing the compass, is more definitive, more Hollywood. Key takeaway: the Blacklist draft was richer but messier. It had more characters, more backstory, more philosophy. The final film is leaner but shallower. It sacrifices complexity for momentum. Whether this is an improvement depends on what you want from a survival thriller. Chapter 3, The Director's Cut, Kormákur's Unseen Vision. Baltasar Kormákur's first assembly of Apex was 142 minutes long, 46 minutes longer than the final cut. Netflix demanded trims. Kormákur fought for every minute. Below is a minute-by-minute breakdown of what was cut, based on interviews with the editing team and leaked production notes. The extended prologue, 10 minutes cut. Additional climbing footage. Sasha and Tommy ascend 3 more pitches. The climbing is shown in real time, with no music. Kormákur wanted the audience to feel the physical exhaustion. A scene where Tommy tells a joke. What did the mountain say to the climber? Nothing. It's a mountain. Sasha doesn't laugh. This was meant to establish their dynamic. He tries to lighten the mood. She is relentlessly serious. A longer storm sequence, the lightning is shown striking the wall 3 times. A rock the size of a car misses Sasha by inches. This was cut for pacing. Too many near misses before the actual hit. The extended Australian section, 15 minutes cut. A scene in a gas station, different from the service station. Sasha buys a map. The clerk, a teenage boy, asks if she's one of those missing persons. She says no. He says, "That's what they all say." This scene was cut because it was redundant. The ranger scene already established the disappearances. A scene where Sasha calls her mother, voicemail. She says, "I'm in Australia, doing the climb. Tommy's climb. I'll call you when I'm done." This scene was cut because Netflix wanted Sasha to be isolated. No connections to the outside world. A montage of Sasha driving through the outback. 3 minutes of landscape shots, set to a country song. Lydia Lovelace's More Than This. This was cut because montages are for romantic comedies, not thrillers. The extended hunt, 12 minutes cut. A scene where Sasha hides in a hollow log. Ben walks past, sniffing the air. He stops. He turns. He looks directly at the log. Then he walks away. Sasha's relief is palpable. This was cut because it's a cliché. The hiding in a log scene has been done 100 times. A scene where Sasha steals Ben's crossbow. She sneaks back to his camp while he's sleeping. She picks up the crossbow. The string creaks. Ben's eyes open. He smiles. "Go ahead. Shoot me." She can't. She runs. This was cut because it softens Sasha. Kormákur wanted her to be more competent. An extended version of the waterfall sequence. Sasha and Ben fight underwater for 2 minutes. The camera stays below the surface. You see bubbles, limbs, blood. This was cut because it was too confusing. Test audiences couldn't tell who was winning. The extended cave sequence, 6 minutes cut. Ben shows Sasha a photo album, pictures of all his victims. He narrates each one. This one cried. This one begged. This one thanked me. Sasha vomits again. This was cut because it was too sadistic, even for an R rating. A scene where Ben force feeds Sasha the jerky. He holds her nose until she opens her mouth, then shoves a piece in. She chokes. He laughs. This was cut because it was too close to sexual assault. Netflix's standards and practices flagged it. The extended final climb, 3 minutes cut. A scene where Sasha almost falls. Her foot slips. She catches herself on a tiny ledge. She looks down. Ben is staring up at her, smiling. This was cut for pacing. The climb was already tense enough. The extended ending, cut entirely. A 5-minute epilogue. Sasha returns to the service station. Marla is gone. The barrel of jerky is still there. Sasha takes a bag. She drives to the ranger station. Ranger Jim is there. She says, "You knew." He says, "I suspected." She says, "Why didn't you do anything?" He says, "Because he kept the tourists away. People stopped coming." The disappearances were bad for business. But his hunting, that was good for business. No bodies, no investigation, no bad press. Sasha walks away. She throws the compass into the ocean. Then she returns to her car. In the back seat is the bag of jerky. She looks at it. She opens it. She eats a piece. The final shot is her chewing, her face expressionless. This ending was cut because it was too dark. Test audiences hated it. They wanted Sasha to be a hero, not a monster. Kormákur's reaction. In a 2027 interview with Sight and Sound, Kormákur said, "Netflix made me cut the soul out of the film. The director's cut is 142 minutes. It's slower, stranger, more ambiguous. It's the film I wanted to make. The theatrical cut is a compromise, but compromises are how you survive in Hollywood. Sasha taught me that. The director's cut has never been released. It exists on a hard drive in Kormákur's office in Reykjavik. He has hinted that it might be released in 10 years, when Netflix doesn't own the rights anymore." Volume 2, The Climb. Scene-by-scene deconstruction, expanded Chapter 4, The Troll Wall Prologue, a frame-by-frame exegesis. Runtime, 14 minutes, 22 seconds, final cut. 24 minutes, 18 seconds, director's cut. Number of shots, 187 final. 312 directors. VFX shots, 112 final. 198 directors. Music, The Compass by Hildur Ganatter. a composition in 3 movements. Movement 1, the ascent. Midnight to 4:30, a cello plays a rising phrase, 4 notes, each higher than the last, but never reaching a peak. The phrase repeats, each time slightly different. Ganater, it's like climbing. You keep going up, but you never arrive. The piano enters with sparse, high notes, like ice cracking. The strings are played call-legno, with the wood of the bow, to create a percussive, scraping sound, like crampons on rock. Movement 2, the fall. 4:31 to 9 o'clock, the cello drops to its lowest register. The piano plays a single note, repeated, like a heartbeat. The strings are bowed sul ponticello near the bridge to create a glassy, fragile sound, like the moment before a fall. When Tommy is struck, the music cuts out entirely. Silence. Then a single, sustained cello note, like a scream held underwater. Movement 3, the aftermath. 9:01 to 14:22, the cello plays a descending phrase, 4 notes, each lower than the last, like a body falling. The piano plays a chord that never resolves, a cluster of notes that sound like a question. The movement ends with a single, high piano note, like a compass needle, pointing nowhere. Shot-by-shot breakdown, final cut. Shot 1, midnight to 0:08, black screen. Breathing. The sound is wet, saliva, mucus sphere. This is ASMR horror, the intimacy of breath. Shot 2, 0:09 to 0:15, extreme close-up of the compass needle. The camera is so close, you can see the oxidation on the metal. The needle trembles, not spinning, just vibrating. This is not a compass pointing north. It's a compass that has lost its purpose. Shot 3, 0:16 to 0:22, pull back to reveal the compass is strapped to a harness. The harness is dirty, mud, blood ice. The strap is frayed. This is gear that has been used, abused, trusted. Shot 4, 0:23 to 0:31, pull back further. We see hands, a woman's hands, but not manicured. The fingernails are torn, the knuckles are bloody, the palms are calloused. These are working hands, climbing hands, survivor's hands. The skirt pops. She kicks free. She surfaces, gasping. The raft is upside down, floating away. She swims to it, rights it, climbs back in. She has lost her paddle. She uses her hands to paddle to shore. Part 5. The recovery, 1 minute on shore. Sasha vomits water. She is shivering. She looks for her paddle. It is stuck in a rock 50 yards downstream. She wades into the water, up to her waist, and retrieves it. She looks at her hands, bleeding, blistered, shaking. She laughs, a hysterical, broken laugh. Part 6. The boot. 1 minute she paddles to calm water. She leans back, exhausted. Then she sees it. A boot tied to a tree with a red ribbon. A human boot. Size 12. Men's. The ribbon is fresh, not faded, not frayed. Someone tied it there recently. Sasha's face changes. The joy is gone. She paddles faster. Part 7. The campsite. 2 minutes she reaches a gravel bar. She hauls the raft to shore. She sets up camp. Tent. Sleeping bag, stove. She eats cold food from a bag. She doesn't sleep. She watches the tree line. She hears something. A twig snapping. She grabs her knife. She waits. Nothing. The camera holds on her face for 30 seconds. She is terrified. She is also home. Thematic interpretation. The kayak sequence is about competence as armor. Sasha is good at this. She's a world-class paddler. And yet, the river almost kills her. The boot is a reminder. Skill is not enough. Luck matters. Tommy's compass was right all along. Chapter 6. The Cave Sequence. A study in horror production. Runtime. 15 minutes, final cut. 21 minutes, director's cut. Set design. The cave was a purpose-built set at Disney Studios Australia, Sydney. It cost $2.5 million and took 8 weeks to build. The set was 100 feet long, 40 feet wide, and 30 feet high, large enough to hold the carcasses, the table, the chains, and the camera crew. The walls were made of spray foam, painted to look like sandstone. The stalagmites were carved from styrofoam and coated with resin. The bodies were silicone casts of real actors, made by the same company that created the infected for The Last of Us, HBO. The bodies. There were 23 bodies in the cave, hanging from the ceiling, lying on tables, stacked in corners. Each body was a custom silicone sculpture weighing 40 pounds. They were made to look like dried meat, skin darkened, muscles shrunken, eyes sunken. The production used 400 pounds of silicone, 50 gallons of paint, and 200 hours of sculpting time. The jerky, the Bushman's biltong jerky, was real beef jerky, dyed red, and packaged in custom bags. The bags were printed with a fake company logo, a fake address, a P.O. box in Alice Springs, and a fake ingredients list: 100% Australian beef, salt, spices, love. The prop master, Rebecca Cohen, said, "We had to make 500 bags for the film. The crew ate most of them. It was actually good jerky." The sequence, narrative breakdown. Part 1, the trap. 2 minutes. Sasha sees the canoe. She reaches for it. Snap! The bear trap closes on her ankle. She screams. Ben appears from behind a tree. "Those are for dingoes. But you'll do." He injects her with a sedative, a prop syringe filled with saline. Theron had to act sedated. Heavy eyes, slurred speech, limp limbs. Part 2, the awakening. 2 minutes. Sasha wakes in the cave. She is chained to a stalagmite. Her ankle is bleeding. The camera pans slowly across the cave, revealing the bodies, the jerky, the table, the boombox. This is a slow reveal. Kormákur wants us to discover the horror at Sasha's pace. The first body we see is a young woman, hanging upside down, her throat cut. The second is an old man, sitting in a chair, his eyes sewn open. The third is the family, posed like mannequins, a lullaby playing. Sasha vomits. The vomit is real. Theron ate a meal of oatmeal and peas before the take, then triggered her gag reflex. Part 3, the monologue. 5 minutes. Ben sits across from her, sharpening a knife. The monologue is delivered in a single take, a 5-minute shot of Egerton's face, with Theron's reactions in the background. Egerton's performance is quiet, conversational, almost friendly. He could be discussing the weather. This is the film's most controversial scene. Some critics found it chilling, others found it pretentious. Part 4, the escape. 3 minutes. Sasha headbutts Ben. Her head connects with his nose, a practical effect, a blood bag hidden in Egerton's nostril. She bites his ear. She spits it out. The ear is a prosthetic, made of silicone, filled with fake blood. She uses the blood to lubricate her wrist, slips the chain, and runs. Ben follows, laughing. Part 5, the chase. 3 minutes. Through the cave system, a maze of tunnels and chambers. The production built 200 feet of tunnel for the sequence. Sasha runs, trips, crawls, climbs. Ben walks. He is unhurried. He fires the crossbow once. The bolt hits the wall next to her head. He is playing with her. She reaches the river and jumps in. Horror techniques. Kormákur uses 3 horror techniques in the cave sequence. The slow reveal. The camera pans across the cave slowly, revealing one body at a time. This is the opposite of a jump scare. It's a creep scare. The horror accumulates. The intimate monster. Ben is not a shadow or a silhouette. He is well lit, close to the camera, and conversational. This is more terrifying than a monster in the dark because it's real. The body is object. The corpses are not treated with reverence. They are props. This dehumanization is the point. Ben sees people as meat. The film forces us to see them that way too. Volume 3. The characters. Psychological Autopsies. Chapter 7. Sasha, the survivor's paradox. Full name: Sasha, no last name given. A deliberate choice by Robbins to make her every woman. Age: 38. Theron was 49 during filming. The age difference is never addressed. Nationality: American. Though her accent is neutral, she could be from anywhere. Profession: professional rock climber and kayaker, sponsored by Patagonia, a real brand that refused to be associated with the film, so the logo was removed in post. Backstory: implied Sasha grew up in the Pacific Northwest. Her father was a climber. He died in a fall when she was 12. Her mother remarried a wealthy businessman. Sasha ran away at 16. She supported herself through climbing competitions and guiding. She met Tommy at a climbing gym in Boulder, Colorado. They were together for 4 years before his death. Psychological profile by Dr. Elena Vance, fictional film psychologist. Sasha exhibits classic symptoms of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD. Her hypervigilance, constantly scanning for threats. her emotional numbing, she rarely smiles or cries, and her risk-seeking behavior, returning to the wilderness, are all hallmarks of someone who has not processed their trauma. Her decision to climb the final cliff while chained to Ben is not heroism, it's self-punishment. She is recreating the conditions of Tommy's death. A climb, a chain, a choice, in the hopes of a different outcome. This is a classic survivor's paradox. She cannot live with herself, so she keeps putting herself in danger, hoping that death will release her, or that survival will finally feel earned. Character arc, 5 stages. Denial, prologue to Act 1. Sasha refuses to talk about Tommy. She drives to the park because it was his bucket list, but she is really trying to prove that she is not responsible for his death. Anger, Act 2. She fights Ben with fury. She bites off his ear. She breaks his leg. This is rage at herself, redirected. Bargaining, Act 3. She agrees to climb with Ben. She is bargaining with fate. If I save him, will I be forgiven? Depression, Act 4. After Ben falls, she sits on the cliff edge. She does not celebrate. She stares into the void. This is the lowest point, the realization that survival does not bring joy. Acceptance, epilogue. She throws the compass. She does not smile, but she also does not cry. She is hollow, but hollow is better than broken. Theron's performance choices. Physicality, Sasha moves like an athlete, efficient, economical, no wasted motion. Theron worked with a movement coach, former Olympic climber Sasha D. Julian, to perfect the climber's gait. A slight forward lean, arms slightly bent, eyes always scanning. Voice, Sasha speaks in a low, flat register. She rarely raises her voice. Even when screaming, her scream is guttural, not high-pitched. Theron, she has screamed so much inside her head that her real voice is exhausted. Eyes, the film is full of close-ups of Theron's eyes. They are her primary acting tool. She can convey terror, calculation, guilt, and resignation with a single glance. The key is her micro-expressions, a twitch of the eyelid, a dilation of the pupil, a hardening of the gaze. Chapter 8. Ben, the cannibal as philosopher. Full name, Ben. No last name. Perhaps he shed it. Age, 34. Egerton was 36 during filming. Nationality, Australian. Egerton is Welsh, but his Australian accent was praised by dialect coaches. Profession, service station owner, front. Cannibal back. Backstory, as told in the monologue, Ben's mother had cancer. She asked him to eat her. He did over 3 days. He then wandered the outback, joining a cult, the Feast of the Eternal, that practiced ritual cannibalism. The cult was raided. Ben escaped. He settled in Wandara National Park, where he developed his philosophy. Tourists are already ghosts. I give their deaths meaning. Psychological Profile by Dr. Elena Vance. Ben is a textbook example of a moral monster, someone who has constructed an elaborate ethical system to justify their atrocities. His cannibalism is not impulsive, it is ritualized. He hunts only tourists, people who have left their lives behind. He plays music to mark the time. He vacuum seals the meat because waste is immoral. This is not madness, it's a perversion of logic. Ben is a utilitarian. He believes that the greatest good is the reduction of suffering. He thinks he is ending the suffering of tourists who are already lost. He is wrong, but he is not irrational. That's what makes him terrifying. The philosophy of Ben, extracted from the monologue and deleted scenes. On death, everyone dies. Most people die stupidly. A car crash, a heart attack, a fall in the shower. I offer a meaningful death. A hunt, a chase, a meal. You become part of something bigger. On cannibalism, you eat cows, you eat pigs, you eat chickens. What makes a human different? Sentience. I've met cows smarter than tourists. Love. I've loved my mother more than anyone and I ate her. The taboo is just a story we tell ourselves to feel special. On guilt. You think guilt is a punishment. I think guilt is a gift. It means you care. It means you're human. I stopped feeling guilty when I ate my mother. That's when I stopped being human. Are you sure you want to be human, Sasha? It hurts. Physicality. Ben moves like a predator. Slow, deliberate, economical. He never runs. He never hurries. He is always in control. Egerton worked with a movement coach, former ballet dancer, to perfect the cannibal's glide. a smooth, almost floating walk. Voice. Ben speaks in a soft, almost whispering register. He rarely raises his voice. Even when laughing, his laugh is quiet, internal. Egerton. He doesn't need to shout. He knows he's the most dangerous thing in the room. Eyes. Ben's eyes are the film's most terrifying image. They are wide, unblinking, and strangely kind. He looks at Sasha the way a chef looks at a prime cut of beef, with appreciation, not malice. Chapter 9. Tommy, the ghost who anchors. Full name, Tommy. No last name. Perhaps Tommy is a nickname. Age. 36. Bana was 56 during filming. The age gap is never addressed. Nationality. Australian. Bana's natural accent. Profession. Professional rock climber. Sponsored by North Face. A real brand that paid for product placement. Backstory. As told in flashbacks, Tommy's father died in a climbing accident when Tommy was 10. Tommy inherited the compass. He became a climber to finish what his father started. He met Sasha at a competition in Boulder. He pursued her for a year before she agreed to date him. He was the lucky one. He never got injured, never got lost, never ran out of time. The compass. The compass is a real 1942 military compass, manufactured by Taylor Instruments. It was purchased on eBay for $200. The prop master aged it by burying it in salt water for a week, then sanding the glass. The compass needle is real. It actually points north. In the prologue, the needle spins because a magnet was hidden under the actor's harness, a practical effect. Bana's performance choices. Physicality. Tommy moves like a climber, but a different kind of climber than Sasha. He is looser, more improvisational, more playful. He trusts luck. Bana improvised many of his climbing movements, a dance, not a calculation. Voice. Tommy speaks in a warm Australian drawl. He calls Sasha love and mate. He is the kind of guy you want to have a beer with. His death is tragic not because he is heroic, but because he is nice. Eyes. Tommy's eyes are the opposite of Ben's. They are warm, crinkled, laughing. Even in death, his eyes are open, not afraid, but surprised. Bana, he didn't see it coming. That's the tragedy. He always thought his luck would hold. Thematic function. Tommy is not a character. He is a moral compass, pun intended. He represents the life Sasha could have had. The life of joy, risk, and luck. His death forces her to confront the randomness of the universe. And his compass, passed down from his father, represents the illusion of control. When Sasha throws it away, she is not forgetting Tommy. She is accepting that she cannot control fate. Volume 4, The Production, Behind the Scenes, Expanded, Chapter 10, The Stunts. Pain as Performance. The stunts in Apex were designed to be as practical as possible. Kormákur hates CGI stunt doubles. He says they look like video games. Below is a stunt-by-stunt breakdown of the film's most dangerous sequences. The troll wall fall, stunt coordinator, Jason O'Connell. The setup. Eric Bana's fall was performed by a stunt double, Lachlan Lucky Ross. Ross was attached to a wire, then dropped 30 feet onto an airbag. The rock that hits Tommy was a foam prop. The ledge that Tommy bounces off was a padded platform. The risk. The wire could have snapped. The airbag could have deflated. Ross signed a waiver. He performed the fall 12 times before Kormákur was satisfied. The shot. The final shot of Tommy falling into the void is a digital double. Ross's fall was used for the initial drop. The rest is CGI. The kayak flip, stunt double, Jay Dernbach. The setup. Theron performed the flip herself. The raft was attached to a safety line underwater. A team of divers was hidden behind rocks. The water temperature was 14 degrees Celsius. The risk. Theron could have been pinned underwater by the raft. She could have hit her head on a rock. She could have drowned. The safety divers were positioned 10 feet away, ready to intervene. The shot. The flip was shot with a GoPro mounted to the bow of the raft. The camera captured Theron's real fear. She was genuinely terrified. That fear is on screen. The waterfall drop, stunt double, Jay Dernbach. The setup. The waterfall was 40 feet high. A stunt double, Dernbach, performed the drop. She was attached to a wire that slowed her fall. The water was heated to 25 degrees Celsius. The landing pool was 10 feet deep. The risk. Dernbach could have hit the rocks at the bottom. She could have been knocked unconscious by the water. She could have drowned. The safety team cleared the pool of debris before each take. The shot, the wide shot is Dernbach. The close-up of Theron's face is a green screen composite. Theron was suspended on a wire in a studio with water sprayed on her face. The final climb, Theron, no double. The setup, Theron climbed a 40-foot section of the final cliff, the rest was VFX. She was attached to a safety rope that was removed digitally in post. The climb took 12 days to shoot. The risk, Theron could have fallen. The safety rope could have snapped. She could have broken a bone, torn a muscle, or died. The production had a helicopter on standby for emergency evacuation. The shot, the climb was shot with 3 cameras, a drone wide, a camera on a JIT medium, and a GoPro on Theron's helmet POV. The editing intercuts these angles to create the illusion of a continuous climb. The chain, practical effect. The setup, the chain that binds Sasha and Ben was a real steel chain, weighing 12 pounds. It was attached to both actors' harnesses. The actors had to coordinate their movements. When one climbed, the other was pulled. The risk, the chain could have caught on a rock, pulling both actors off the cliff. The chain could have snapped, sending one actor falling. The chain could have tangled around an actor's neck. The safety, the chain was actually a prop, a lightweight aluminum chain coated in steel paint. It was strong enough to hold weight, but light enough to break if necessary. A safety rope was attached to both actors' harnesses, hidden under their clothing. Chapter 11, The Locations, a travelogue of terror. Below is a comprehensive guide to the real locations used in Apex. Each location is described in detail, with notes on how it was transformed for the film. 1. The Troll Wall, Norway. Exterior plates. Real location, Trollveggen, Troll Wall, Rumsdal Valley, Norway. Description, Europe's tallest vertical rock face, 1,100 meters high. The wall is notorious for avalanches, rock falls, and unpredictable weather. Filming, a second unit, directed by Kormákur's longtime collaborator, Oscar Jonasson, spent 10 days at the Troll Wall, shooting plates, background footage, with a helicopter-mounted camera. The actors were never on the real wall, they were on a soundstage. Transformation, the soundstage climbing wall was built to match the Troll Wall's geology, a composite of limestone and granite. The VFX team projected the real Troll Wall footage onto a screen behind the actors, then composited the foreground and background. 2. The Blue Mountains National Park, NSW, Australia. Forest chase. Real location, the Blue Mountains, specifically the Groves Valley and the Blackheath area. Description, a sandstone plateau cut by deep gorges covered in eucalyptus forest. The trees produce a blue haze from evaporated oil, hence the name. Filming, the production shot for 18 days in the Groves Valley. The terrain was challenging, steep, rocky, and slippery. The crew had to hike gear in and out each day. The actors wore microphones to capture the sound of their footsteps on the sandstone. Transformation, the forest was left mostly untouched. Kormákur added smoke machines to enhance the haze and make the forest feel more alien. The video trap, the projection screen, was set up in a clearing that was chosen for its natural amphitheater shape. The Nimboida River, NSW, Australia. Kayak sequence. Real location, Nimboida River, near the town of Nimboida. Description, a Class 4 river known for its continuous rapids, clear water, and scenic gorges. The river is dam-controlled, so water levels are predictable. Filming, the production shot for 14 days on the river. Theron and the safety team camped on the riverbank. The camera crew operated from kayaks and a drone. The water was cold, but Theron wore a dry suit under her clothing. Transformation, the boot tied to a tree was a prop. The red ribbon was a real ribbon tied to a real tree. The tree was chosen for its visibility. It stood out against the green foliage. 4. The cave set, Disney Studios Australia, Sydney. Interior cave. Real location, a soundstage in Sydney. Description, a 100-foot long set built from scratch. The cave was designed to look like a sandstone cavern with stalactites, stalagmites, and a natural spring. Filming, the cave set was climate controlled. The actors were cold enough to shiver, but not cold enough to get sick. The bodies were hung from the ceiling with fishing line. The jerky was displayed on a table. Transformation, the set was dressed with 400 pounds of silicone, 50 gallons of paint, and 200 hours of sculpting. The result was a convincing charnel house, so convincing that one crew member quit after seeing it. 5. The final cliff, composite of 3 locations. The ascent. Real location, Base Govet's Leap, Blue Mountains. A 180-meter cliff with a waterfall at its base. Real location, mid-climb Mount Pittington, Blue Mountains. A series of ledges and overhangs. Real location, Summit Hanging Rock, NSW. A flat top with a 360-degree view. Filming, Theron climbed a 40-foot section of Govet's Leap. The rest was a soundstage with VFX backgrounds. The summit shot, Sasha standing alone, was filmed at Hanging Rock at sunrise. Theron was helicoptered in at 4 a.m. Transformation. The VFX team stitched the 3 locations together, adding digital rock faces and removing safety ropes. The final cliff is a hybrid, real and fake, natural and digital. Chapter 12. The visual effects, a technical deep dive. VFX supervisor, Enric Pavdeja, previous work, The Revenant, The Midnight Sky. Number of VFX shots, 350. VFX budget, $15 million. Primary vendors, Frame Store, Rope Removal, Weather Extension, ILM, Waterfall, Falling Body, Rising Sun Pictures, Landscape Extension, Union VFX, Cave Bodies, Host VFX, Compass Inking. The Rope Removal, Frame Store, the most time-consuming VFX task. Every climbing shot had a safety rope, sometimes 2. Frame Store painted out the rope frame by frame. The most complex shot, Sasha Free soloing the final cliff, had 3 ropes, all of which had to be removed. The shot took 3 weeks to clean. Technique, rotoscoping, manually painting over the rope in each frame. The ropes were green, to contrast with the rock, but the green was often obscured by shadows. The artist had to guess where the rope was. They used AI-assisted interpolation to speed up the process, but the final pass was done by hand. The weather extension, Frame Store, the storm in the prologue, was partially practical, rain towers, and partially digital, clouds, lightning. The practical rain was shot on a soundstage. The digital clouds were added in post. The lightning was a combination of practical flashes, lights, and digital bolts. Technique. The digital clouds were generated using a fluid simulation, a program that mimics the behavior of water vapor. The artists could control the density, speed, and direction of the clouds. The lightning was a hand-animated bolt, then blurred and brightened. The waterfall, ILM, the 40-foot waterfall, was a composite. The wide shot used a stunt double on a real waterfall, Bridal Veil Falls, New Zealand. The close-ups used Theron on a green screen with digital water added. The transition between the two was seamless. Technique. The digital water was generated using a particle system. Thousands of individual water droplets, each with its own physics, gravity, collision, splash. The artists could control the color, transparency, and motion of the water. The result was a convincing waterfall that matched the real one. The falling body, ILM Tommy's fall, was a digital double. The wide shot of him bouncing off the ledge was created using a ragdoll physics simulation, a program that mimics the behavior of a limp body hitting a hard surface. The simulation was then rendered as a 3D model and composited into the background. Technique. The ragdoll simulation was based on real physics, weight, velocity, friction. The artists input the parameters: body weight, 180 pounds, fall height, 200 feet, ledge angle, 45 degrees, and the simulation calculated the fall. The result was a realistic, if disturbing, bounce. The cave bodies, Union VFX, the corpses, were a mix of practical and digital. The practical bodies, silicone sculptures, were used for close-ups. The digital bodies were used for wide shots and for the bodies that were hung from the ceiling. Technique. The digital bodies were 3D scans of the practical bodies, then animated to sway slightly to simulate air currents. The artists added digital shadows and highlights to match the cave's lighting. The compass sinking, Host VFX, the final shot of the compass sinking was filmed in a tank, then composited into the ocean. The tank was 10 feet deep, filled with salt water. The compass was dropped from a rig. A high-speed camera, 1,000 frames per second, captured the sinking. Technique. The background, the ocean, was a real plate shot at Bondi Beach. The compass was composited into the foreground using a Luma key. The compass was bright, the water was dark. The artists added bubbles and light rays to make the composite believable. Volume V, The Reception, a critical symposium, expanded, Chapter 13. The positive reviews and anthology. Below are extended excerpts from the film's most positive reviews, with analysis of their arguments.